Baltimore Orioles. The site is Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, filled with fervent Oriole faithful. The weather is perfect.
Number 33.
The fact that the championship of the American League East after 161 games is on the line, decided in the final game by itself, remarkable. It is an ultimate moment for baseball and the men who will play the game this afternoon. And this ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Miller High Life, the best beer for the best time of the day. Welcome to Miller Time. By Chevrolet, who invites you to take charge of a new Chevrolet car or truck at your Chevrolet dealers now. And by Gillette, makers of Good News, the disposable razor with micro-smooth twin blade. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson. When the Milwaukee Brewers were 4 games out in front of the American League East with 5 games to play, a lot of people yawned and said, well, it's over. When the Milwaukee Brewers came to Baltimore to play the final 4 games of the 1982 season, they had only to win 1 to clinch the American League East. They have not been able to do it. They have instead been pummeled by the Baltimore Orioles by scores of 8-3, 7-1, 11-3, outscored 26-7. How? Why? For what reason? No one can really answer your question, not even the ball players themselves. But they know, all of them, that this game is played one day at a time. And thus you have this afternoon quite a remarkable circumstance with a full World Series or playoff flair. It is a wall-to-wall sellout, and all the elements for special sports drama here, including the potential last game for Earl Weaver, who has managed here for 15 seasons. The pitching matchup is also very special today. 2 veteran right-handers with 520 wins between them, Don Sutton for Milwaukee and Jim Palmer for Baltimore. And to that story now with Howard Cosell.
Well, I think you put it very well and very completely. Let me just say this, and there's no need to build up the superb nature of this pitching matchup either. It speaks for itself. Don Sutton, 257 career victories, a record so far this season in the 2 leagues of 16-9. The opponent, Jim Palmer, 263 career victories. Both pitchers clearly destined for the Baseball Hall of Fame. But Jim Palmer this year had an incredible 15-4. Seems to have recovered the acceleration in that rising fastball of his that was his trademark through all of the years. As personalities, the 2 men do have a similarity. They're about as cool as any pitcher could be, based upon experience, to meet this kind of crisis game, because they have met the same kind of situation, if not exactly the same, similar thereto throughout their respective careers. And this crowd is going crazy, as you can hear in the background. In the meantime, should it be necessary to bring in Raleigh Fingers, he of the damaged right pitching elbow, he is prepared to pitch today to 1, 2, maybe as many as 3 batters, no more than that. That's the backdrop of the pitching matchup. Back to you, Keith.
I can only say, as we get ready for the first pitch, this is Major League quality sports, coming live from Baltimore this afternoon.
Robin Yount, batting 3rd, heavy-hitting Cecil Cooper. Dangerous Ted Simmons in the cleanup spot. Then Ben Oglesby with 34 homers. After him, Gorman Thomas with 39 homers. The DH is Roy Howell. And then the developing right fielder, Charlie Moore. Finally, the highly prized second baseman, Jim Gantner, the Milwaukee Brewers lineup.
All right, Howard, and defensively for the Baltimore Orioles, they will line up this way. Eddie Murray at first base, Rich Dower at second base, Cal Ripken at shortstop, and Glenn Gulliver at third base. In the outer defense, John Lowenstein. Over in right, Jim Dwyer and Al Bumbry in center. He's playing with aches and pains and made a marvelous catch against the wall to rob Robin Yount of a home run in yesterday's game. Behind the plate is Rick Dempsey, and Jim Palmer is on the mound. The Milwaukee Brewers will send up against Jim Palmer 3 left-handed hitters. The Baltimore Orioles have enough depth organized in the main by Earl Weaver that they will be able to send to the plate today against Don Sutton 6 left-handed hitters. This could be a day when an error of omission is as meaningful as an error of commission. And the men in charge of the game behind the plate, Don Dinkinger, calling balls and strikes. First base is Jim Evans. Larry Barnett is at second base and Rich Garcia at third base. And it is a very good umpiring crew. So we are ready to go in an afternoon that just could not be more glorious. I don't see anything resembling clouds, maybe a little wisp here and there. The field is in perfect condition, thanks in the main to the NFL players' strike, because 2 games would have been played here prior to today. But obviously no games have been played here recently, and the field is virtually perfect.
It is virtually perfect. One note, the groundskeeper here, one of the most respected in all of baseball, Pat Santaroni. And Pat goes back with Earl Weaver an awful lot of years, back to when they were together again at Elmira in New York. If the mound may look a little high to you at some point, I was kidding Pat about it before the game with Milwaukee manager Harvey Keene present, suggesting that the mound may be a little high. The rule is the mound must be no more than 10 inches higher than the plate. And Keene took it seriously, said to Pat, I'm going to set up a tripod and have the thing measured. He did not, of course, but the mound, in fact, looks a little high.
Among the many elements that will come to memory this afternoon will be the fact that back in 1966, as you look at Harvey Keene, Jim Palmer won a ball game in that 1966 World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers at age 21. And sitting in the other dugout, also at the age of 21, was a young right-hander named Don Sutton. And as the years have gone by, they have proven themselves to be major leaguers of the first quality. And here in 1982, they face off in one of the more meaningful games either of them will pitch.
I don't know that 66 was any kind of augury, but the Birds won that World Series in 4 straight. On the wings of an extraordinary catch by an ordinarily poor left fielder named Kurt Blefary, plunging into the left field wall right here at Memorial Stadium.
Paul Molitor, the third baseman, will lead it off, followed by Robin Yount and Cecil Cooper. And 2 of the most important men in the Milwaukee lineup are hitting 1 and 2. Molitor and Yount. Keep them off base. You can control the Brewers. And the first pitch is lifted to right for Jim Dwyer, who looks up into the high, bright sky and makes the catch for out number 1.
Molitor, a notoriously eager first ball, fastball hitter. But Jim kept that ball away on the outside. Net result, he hit it where it was pitched and the fly to right.
Now the man that most people figure the front runner for the MVP award in the American League, Robin Yount, who has had a remarkable year, the shortstop. And Palmer's first pitch to Robin is high and outside. The numbers on Yount: 27 home runs, 112 runs batted in, and a .328 batting average going into this final game of the season. Outside corner, and the count is 1-1.
Palmer may be red hot today. He was complaining of aches and pains last night.
Shot foul down the right side, ricocheting into the crowd. Palmer has the edge at 1 and 2.
The Birds have come to recognize that the more Jim complains, the more likely he is that you look at that graphic. If he beats Milwaukee today, he'll be the only pitcher in the league to have beaten them 3 times in this season. When Jim complains, the Birds grow in confidence.
I think Jim has grown in confidence, too, in what he has been able to accomplish as a result of a self-imposed regimen during the off-season, restoring velocity and hop to his fastball. We have a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes to Robin Yount with Cecil Cooper on deck. It is now full at 3-2. The first 2 pitches to Yount, fastball. The last 2 pitches have been breaking pitches. In the air to right. Dwyer to the corner. To the wall. Home home run for Robin Yount, lifted to the off field, and the Brewers break on top. And that is a very important factor to consider, because in the series here in Baltimore against the Orioles, the Brewers have been in the position of having to come from behind, way behind, and couldn't play their game.
Well, as we look at this home run again, it's a vivid evidence of why Yount is so highly regarded for the MVP. His power is to all fields. Remember, the shortstop position. When you have a man who has that kind of home run power, that gives him 28 on the season, 113 runs batted in out of the shortstop position, then you've got a very special talent.
The batter is Cecil Cooper, and the first pitch spun him around. A typical Palmer greeting after being long balled by Robin Yount. Yount's shot went out at about 320 feet and had plenty of carry, about 10 rows back. The Brewers get the early lead, 1-0, and Cooper is up there now with a 1-ball, no strike count. Cecil with big numbers as he takes a strike of 3-13 and 31 home runs. And there is Robin Yount.
Right. That'll be interesting to see Palmer's reaction. He has said throughout his career, I don't mind a solo home run. Those with men on base kill me.
Edge to Palmer against Cooper. 1-2. Cecil came over to the Milwaukee Brewers from the Boston Red Sox. It was one of the best deals Harry Dalton has ever made. Foul back upstairs.
That, if you'll remember, was the great Scott deal. Keith.
Right. George Scott going over to Boston. One of the men who confirms the mistake from the Boston side, Don Zimmer, who was then the manager of the Red Sox. Cecil pops it up. The shortstop, Cal Ripken, drifts back to the grass and makes the catch for out number 2.
Ted Simmons, now, it's been said all year long, hardly needs repeating, this is a dynamite batting order. Perhaps the most dangerous in either major league.
Loop over the shortstop. Ripken makes a grab at it and cannot come up with it, and Simmons is aboard with a base hit. Second hit of the inning off Jim Palmer, but that one obviously lacking the authority of the stroke by Robin Yount, and it brings to the plate dangerous Ben Ogilvie, who has hit 34 big ones in 1982.
And who in Jim's most recent victory over Milwaukee, when Palmer allowed but 4 hits at Milwaukee, Ogilvie got 2 of those hits, and the DH today, Roy Howell, got the other 2.
So Benji is in, standing deep in the box against the right-hander. And Palmer starts him, taking something off the fastball, and misses with it. Harvey Keene has done a pretty good sales job on Ben Ogilvie and his association with Ben. He has convinced him he has enough power to quit worrying about pulling the ball. And since Ben has been able to do it, he has been like thunder at the plate. Foul back.
How ironic, Keith. You get down to the one game, the whole season at stake. And Weaver and Palmer, who through all of the years have traded barbs and have had open quarrels, now their dependency interlaced, each man needing the other so desperately.
And the pitch here is high to Ogilvie, and your count is 2-1. Their relationship has been unusual. I think both of them in conversation ultimately get around to a key word.
Respect.
That's exactly right. It's fun to sit and watch an event like this unfold in the course of an afternoon, because this is the kind of a contest that needs little embellishment. Everything's here. The 2 best teams in the American League East, some of the best players in all the game. It's all here. And they will take it as long as they can take it.
the two best records in baseball for the two teams here today.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 out and 1 run in for Milwaukee in the top of the first inning. Ed Simmons leading off first base for the Brewers. And Cooper bounces it over the mound. Ripken, the shortstop, steps on second, retiring Ted Simmons. And so the first inning is over. And Milwaukee gets on the board, leading 1-0.
Relative newcomer Glenn Gulliver. In the third spot, the DH Kenny Singleton. Batting clean up the star of the club, Eddie Murray. After him, having a big year, John Lowenstein. Then comes Jim Dwyer, who seems to be forever on base. Cal Ripken, the Rookie of the Year, at shortstop. Next, Rick Dempsey, the guts and glue of the club. Next, and Rich Dower, who does it all, batting 9th.
Defensively, for the Milwaukee Brewers, Cecil Cooper at first base. Young Jim Gantner at second base. Yount is the shortstop. Molitor at third. The outer defense, left field is Ben Ogilvy. Center field, Gorman Thomas. And right field, Charlie Moore, who came up originally as a catcher. Doing the catching is Ted Simmons. And on the mound, Don Sutton, who at age 37 has won 257 games in the major leagues. He's had a bit of a cold, sore throat and a touch of the flu. He has had a shot for that, but said this morning at breakfast he felt just fine, and has repeated a couple of dozen times in the last 24 hours, this is the kind of a game you live for.
He says he wouldn't want to be anyplace else. First he had a penicillin shot. That produced a reaction. Then he had a cortisone shot to ward off the penicillin reaction. But he says today he feels great.
Came from Alabama, went to Hollywood, and has been successful. Now living in Milwaukee. And he pitches to Al Bumbry. And Bumbry jumps on the first pitch and lifts it up in the air to the second baseman. Gantner back on the grass, 1 down. So both leadoff men jump on the first pitch.
Batting second,
Glenn Gulliver, the third baseman, comes in with a 191 batting average. He came up from Rochester. He has the capacity to get on base, and that is something that pleases Earl Weaver, and that's why he is here, despite the low batting average. Shot foul. He is also, in this respect, a Weaver kind of player in that he doesn't say much, just goes out and works at his trade.
I'm not so sure about that, Keith. Palmer says a lot. Rick Dempsey says a lot. There are a lot of talkers on that team.
That's true. Especially when Earl is around. A dandy bunt. Roll down the third base line. Molitor's throw. Throws it away. Gulliver turns and goes to second. The ball bounces into the stand. Ball had no play. And wound up giving Gulliver the extra base.
That's the second day in a row that Molitor has erred on a bunt play. Gulliver, the man executing the bunt. It happened yesterday and led to a couple of runs for the Birds. There was Molitor coming in, late on the bunt, and then the errant throw, which should not have been made at all.
It is a single for Gulliver and an error on Molitor, putting him on second base. And here is the switch-hitting Ken Singleton, today's DH, with 77 runs batted in. Capable of the long ball from either side of the plate. Hits it high in the air, into the outfield, going to the center fielder, Gorman Thomas, shading his eyes, and whips the throw back in. And Gulliver stays at second base. 2 down.
Molitor has been played at so many positions. His uncertainty in the field at any one of them becomes understandable. Last year in the playoff series against the Yankees, he had deep trouble playing right field. Remember, Keith?
The man who leads this ball club, Eddie Murray. His numbers reflected there. Obviously, a prime candidate for the most valuable player honors in the American League in 1982. 2 of the prime candidates opposing each other today. Murray for Baltimore, Yount for Milwaukee, and the third candidate, at least in my mind, would be Doug DeCinces, the third baseman of California.
Once they said Murray was a fastball hitter when he first came up, nothing more. If that was true then, it's not true now.
Sutton gets a strike on the inside corner.
He can hit the change, he can hit the curve, he can hit the fastball. He is a complete ball player. There you see that graphic. 372 with 2 outs, runners in scoring position.
Sutton goes outside with him and misses for a 1-1 count. Gulliver on second base with 2 out. Milwaukee getting a Robin Yount home run in the top of the first inning for a 1-0 lead.
Very good, is it?
Not
7.04 ERA.
Not the kind of numbers you want to go to sleep with. Inside again. Murray says he nicked me on the arm. Don Denkinger has a look. Says I don't see a whelp.
Denkinger, by the way, has his own history of controversy in this ballpark. Let's have another look at the pitch. As Murray lifted his arms up, he would have had to be nicked right on the elbow as he uplifted that elbow, but Denkinger disagreed. Still, Murray has some words with him.
Weaver is on his way. The trainer is coming with it. They want to see the arm.
Now, this is not to be confused with the old shoe polish case.
Ralph Salvon, the trainer.
Back in '58, Milwaukee against the Yankees, we had the Nippy Jones. Let's look at it again and see what, if anything, we can say. What do you make of it, Keith?
I can't tell. A passive visit by Weaver. He is enjoying this day so much you cannot begin to measure it. 3-1 count on Eddie Murray with 2 out, and Sutton misses outside with his breaking pitch. Murray is on. 2 aboard now, and John Lowenstein coming to the plate.
What a year this man has had. Being used on the basis of Weaver's platoon system, he's hitting .320, 24 home runs, 66 runs batted in.
John Lowenstein.
John is always good for a one-liner or two before a ball game, but today he was very quiet.
Yes, he's uptight.
Shot to right, base hit. Gulliver coming around third. Here's the throw. He stopped for a moment, and he's a dead duck. Murray has gone on down to third base, and Gulliver did not hold. I don't know whether he saw Ripken's indication to hold at third, but he kept coming halfway down the line, apparently running through the sign, and Charlie Moore made a heck of a throw.
All right, now watch, and you'll see right here where he slowed up.
Your attention, please.
Ripken, the third base coach, trying desperately to hold him up, but it was too late, and the play was easily made. By the way, another sterling throwing effort by the developing right fielder Charlie Moore, who executed a similar play yesterday, getting Singleton at the plate. Moore throwing home. Ripken waving his hands upward, trying to hold him up frantically, but Gulliver wasn't even looking at him, and so he was a dead pigeon. How big this play will loom later on can only be determined by the future flow of play. And here he is,
Mr. Muscle.
Thomas. Yep.
Gorman Thomas with 39 home runs and 112 runs knocked in for Milwaukee. He'll be followed by Roy Howell, the DH, and Charlie Moore. Jim Palmer's first pitch to Thomas, A fastball for a strike. And it was up in the upper part of the strike zone.
Oddly, Thomas has the best career batting average of any Brewer against Palmer.
Her ball bounces at the plate.
Which you wouldn't expect because he is so prone to strike out. You can see he's been in the doldrums recently. But there is his career record against Jim that I referred to.
He has such good bat velocity and control, you make any kind of mistake on him, and it's gone. That's high. In the four-hitter that Palmer pitched a week ago Saturday over in Milwaukee for the 5-2 win, his location was virtually perfect that day. And against a fellow like Gorman Thomas, your location had better be pretty good. 3 balls and 1 strike.
He went 3-2 against Robin Yount, and Yount got him for the opposite field home run. Now he's 3-1. Ball 4. And so Gorman Thomas goes to first base, where Ron Hansen, the first base coach, greets him. Harry Warner is the third base coach for Harvey Keene. And Palmer now will pitch to Roy Howell, the DH. This is the man who had 2 singles against Palmer and Jim's successful outing against the Brewers in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee is leading 1-0. Baltimore wasting an opportunity in the bottom of the first inning when Gulliver ran through third base coach Cal Ripken's side and was thrown out by the right fielder Charlie Moore. Palmer throws it away. And Thomas goes to second. He's going to third. The throw across is not in time and backed up by Palmer. The ball skipping past Gulliver. Gorman Thomas would have scored had Palmer not been there to back up.
Another look at this. Jim suddenly whirling, throwing over. The ball thrown behind the runner. Nothing Murray could do about that. And notice, early in this game, it's the Birds who are making the mistakes that the Brewers committed yesterday.
And with nobody out, Howell steps in with a chance to deliver. Another run for Milwaukee. Foul ball, first base side. This is the first time that Baltimore has ever played for a championship in the final game of the season. Milwaukee won the strike year American League East a year ago, but then lost in the final game of the miniseries to the Yankees. Howell checks and takes a slider inside. Ball 1-1 count.
We saw Ripken move his arm over to the third base umpire by way of appeal on the pitch. But it was what it was called by the home plate umpire.
That's a roller to first base. Contact. Run comes to the plate and scores. Eddie Murray bobbles it for a moment, picks it up, retires Howell. Milwaukee leads 2-0.
Crowd grows silent.
Number 22, Charlie Moore.
They're not accustomed to seeing the Birds mishandle the ball.
Gorman Thomas walking, going to third base on the throw by Jim Palmer that got away at first base. And on contact, he broke from third and scored.
Let me tell you, going from first to third, Keith, that was a nifty backup by Palmer on the throw. Runner could have scored even then had there been an errant backup.
Don Deckinger, the plate umpire, is giving Charlie Moore a brief lesson in the perimeter of the batting area. Charlie is back as far as the law will allow and hits a sharp shot to Ripken, bobbles it for a moment, comes up with it and throws him out. Youngster has a big arm at shortstop. 2 down.
Look at this again from our center field camera. The ball was sharply hit by Charlie Moore, and it handcuffed Ripken, but only momentarily, and he has the big arm that Keith referred to. It's a rifle.
Here is young Jim Gantner, who is developing into one of the better second basemen in baseball and becoming a very tough out, as his numbers reflect.
He's a slick operator with the bat yesterday, as that was a strike, of course. Yesterday in the second inning, when they were struggling to get back in the ball game with 2 out, he sliced one into left field. Hit it inside out, in fact. Drove in 2 runs to turn a 3-0 Baltimore lead into a then tough game, 3-2.
Count on Gantner, 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 out, a run in. That ball is well hit. Up the alley, Bumbry, going. Near the track, reaches high and pulls it down. Only Bumbry's speed kept it from going against the fence. So Milwaukee adds another run as Baltimore's defense is loose. They lead it after 1.5, 2-0.
Playoffs begins Tuesday night on ABC.
Don Sutton, a cool cookie. I asked him about his state of nerves today.
Well, I don't. Maybe I should be psychoanalyzed or something because of it, but it's fun. I like what I do, and I just can't think of anything I'd rather be doing today. And it's not the end of the world for me if I lose, and it's not the greatest thing that'll ever happen to me if I win. It's just another step in what has been a very happy life, and another step along the way to someplace I hope to be when I retire.
One can rationalize anything, can't one?
He's that kind of guy.
Sutton pitching now to Jim Dwyer, Cal Ripken, and Rick Dempsey. And Dwyer flirting with a piece of baseball history. He has reached base 13 consecutive times, 8 base hits and 5 walks. The major league record is Ted Williams, September of 1957, with 16.
And Ted Williams, Dwyer's old batting coach. Sutton's a personality. He found a home in Hollywood, except when he was brawling with Steve Garvey in the Dodger clubhouse.
Dwyer fouls it away, coming back out of play into the crowd. The shadows will now become a factor as we wear on toward 4 o'clock. By 5, the shadows will be no problem. But over the next hour, the shadows will be a factor. That's foul. To be absolutely correct, I suppose, on the 1982 season, one would have to say this is the 163rd game these two teams have played, because they locked horns in a 2-2 tie, and the game was suspended, and they had to play it again. That's foul back.
Since you delve into that, this is only the 3rd time in baseball history that the situation has existed that exists today between these two teams. Last time it happened was at Yankee Stadium in '49 when Vic Raschi beat Ellis Kinder in the final game. The Yankees won the pennant on a 3-run double to right field by Jerry Coleman.
Tap back to Sutton by Dwyer. Don flips over to first baseman Cecil Cooper. You've got 1 out.
End of streak for Dwyer. Then you talk about a tie game. Go back to 1908 when you were in your prime, Keith. And the Cubs beat the Giants 4-2. 3-finger Brown over Christy Mathewson. And they were replaying a game that had been tied because Bonehead Merkel had failed to touch second on a hit by Al Birdwell. Those are the other 2 times that we had this kind of situation in baseball history.
Baltimore shortstop Cal Ripken takes a strike from Don Sutton.
You were at the 1908 game.
Of course. Crystal mic and all. Of course, nobody could hear it. The strike 1 pitch is fouled away, and Sutton has the edge at 0-2. Very slight breeze drifting out toward left field. Looking back over the years with Earl Weaver reflected there on your television screen, Baltimore has been notorious for having inclement weather in important moments in their baseball, including that 79 World Series against Pittsburgh.
Ooh, snow.
But today it is just glorious.
Sutton continues at this pace another couple of innings as you look at the Milwaukee bench, and Harvey Keene, the manager, centered there.
Wrist hits it to the right side, and Charlie Moore gives ground to make the catch. Sort of side saddled it because Charlie's got to look up into that bright sky. 2 down.
Sutton keeps this up a couple of more innings. Look for Earl Weaver to start a career in harassment. He'll want to look at that ball. He'll challenge what Sutton is throwing. Don is prepared for it, Keith.
With 2 down, the pitch to Rick Dempsey, the Baltimore catcher. Ball 1. And Rick says very quickly, get rid of that baseball. It's got a spot on it. Scrap iron. Tough guy. Rick Dempsey. His battery mate Jim Palmer right there. He is a battler, this fellow. Liner, and Yount can't come down with it. Tipped his glove and rolls to the outfield, and Dempsey is aboard.
Now the center field camera. And as the ball sank, Rick was there to lift it just over that outstretched reach of Yount. Dempsey is an amazing ball player. It doesn't show in the averages, but this man is the real field leader of this Baltimore team. Make no mistake about it. A superb catcher with a capacity to hit in the clutch, and an outstanding hit-and-run hitter, hitting behind the runner to right field.
Rich Dower strokes it. Little soft looper going out into center field. And Gorman Thomas lopes in to make the catch. And we've played 2 with Milwaukee leading 2-0. We'll be back after Jim Lampley and a commercial message.
As the Dodgers root for San Diego to beat the Braves, they try to keep the heat on themselves. And in the top of the second, Ron Cey, with Rick Mundy on base, delivers his 24th home run of the year off of Bill Lasky. Los Angeles has taken a 2-0 lead off of San Francisco in the top of the second inning. We'll be going back to Baltimore for the showdown after this.
Molitor looking this time. Remember, usually a fastball, first ball hitter, but the first pitch was low, clearly a ball. Molitor laid off.
Stings it pretty well, sending Bumbry deep to center field, near the warning track, makes the catch for out number 1.
You mentioned Ron Cey. Can't tell you my admiration for that young man. I have nightmares about him. Keeps getting hit in the helmet, and thank the Lord for the helmet. You remember Gossage a year ago, and he came back and even got a home run as the World Series wore on.
We had one recently where Mike Witt of California hit John Wathan of Kansas City in the side of the head, and Wathan lay there for a moment, got up, went to first base, ran the bases, and continued in the ball game as the catcher.
Well, Ron got hit in the helmet yesterday on the base paths, and for a moment I had that nightmare again. But here he is back with a homer today. The Penguin is a battler.
Palmer started Yount with a curveball, comes in on the hands with a fastball. Yount fouls it back to make it 1-1.
Can't believe they once played this game without the helmet. First they went to the helmet liner, remember? Then the helmet itself.
The pitch is just low. 2-1 the count. Jim Palmer was 1-1 with a 6+ earned run average. Back in the month of May, early May, he went into the bullpen. He worked there for a while, got himself organized, and since May 25, when he came back as a starter, that ball is well hit, deep left field. It's gone, and Robin Yount has hit successive home runs off Jim Palmer, and Milwaukee leads 3-0.
And he has hit the home runs in the very manner we talked about. One to right field, the opposite field. This one deep up the left center alley. Extraordinary power for a shortstop. Let's look at it again. And this pitch will be upstairs, right in his groove. He got a round on it. There was no question about it. And they are hitting Jim Palmer in each and every inning. So far, 1 run at a time.
Cooper fouls it back.
That was perhaps overstated. The second inning, Palmer's errant throw to first caused the second Milwaukee run.
Each time, however, he has been stung by Yount. He has had to pitch from behind. And each time he's had the ball up over the plate, and Yount has cashed it in. 3-0 Milwaukee. And the count to Cooper now. 2 balls and a strike. And look out. Shot to right. Murray flags it down. He nailed it, but Murray grabbed it.
But every ball this inning has been hard hit. Yes, the word Keith used was sting. Molitor stung one as we look at this again to deep center field. Bunbury corralled it. This had the look of a double down the line. Murray picked it off. The Yount blow too far.
Ted Simmons at the plate now with 2 down and a run in, and Palmer changes. Misses low. Mike Flanagan is up in the bullpen for Baltimore. This is staff day. You cannot afford to let Milwaukee get the edge. Let them play their game. There's Mike warming up.
Milwaukee has a good edge now with 3 runs and with a solid crisis-proven pitcher. There he is, Don Sutton.
Pitch is up, and now it's 3 balls and no strikes to Simmons. And Flanagan is joined now by a right-hander out in the bullpen, John Flynn. Palmer walks him.
Weaver is edgy, and you can understand it, Keith. He can't let this game get further out of hand.
That is the second walk issued by Jim Palmer. And now he's got to work to Ben Ogilvy. And Ray Miller comes out of the Milwaukee dugout on his way to the mound for the visit. I should say the Baltimore dugout. He certainly wouldn't come out of the Milwaukee dugout. This is one of the men that some people around this part of the country think could succeed Earl Weaver as the manager. Other people seem to be of the opinion the job may be offered to Cal Ripken Sr. But the point is that the Baltimore organization is an inbred organization in the main, developing their own players out of the farm system and have the history of staying within the organization for their managers. Joe Altobelli and John McNamara are other names that have bandied about, but it'll be some time probably before that decision is made. So Miller goes back now to the dugout, and Palmer stays. Trailing in the ball game 3-0. 2 home runs by Robin Yount. 1 to right and a big one to left. And the throwing error by Palmer delivering Gorman Thomas for the other Milwaukee run.
Excuse me. Atlanta and San Diego are tied at 0 in the second inning.
Ted Simmons, who reached his first time on a single, having walked this time, is on first base. Murray holding inside against him. And ball 1 to Ben Ogilvy. Gorman Thomas to the on-deck circle. Over the top with good velocity on a fastball. And it's 1-1. And misses on a good slider at the hand. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Palmer seemed to lapse for just a moment in walking Simmons. Now he's bowed his neck against Ben. The 1-2 pitch. Popped up. First baseman Eddie Murray will make the play near the mound. So the Milwaukee Brewers add another run on Yount's homer, and they lead after 2.5, 3-0. Coming up for Baltimore, Al Bumbry, Glenn Gulliver, and Ken Singleton. And we're now told, as you see, Wild Bill Hagee exhorting the faithful, and that broom that they're waving there is a result of a new cheer that the faithful have come up with in this series. They're shouting for a sweep of the Milwaukee Brewers. We're told now that it's 2-2 at Candlestick Park in San Francisco between the Giants and the Dodgers. Don Denkinger had gone over to the Milwaukee dugout with Ted Simmons. Now he and Don Sutton are engaged in conversation, and I frankly haven't been able to figure out what it is.
Maybe about the ball.
Weaver comes out. He's curious too, so Earl comes out to get an explanation of what's going on. The entire umpiring crew went over to the Milwaukee dugout with Simmons. Earl will grow more and more active in this game as it goes on.
And if Sutton keeps the Birds away from home plate, as I said, he will inevitably begin to harass him.
All right, it's the second time around for the Orioles against Sutton. Bumbry, Gulliver, Singleton, top of the order. Bumbry popped out on the first pitch to the second baseman, Gentner, his first time up this afternoon. And Sutton starts in with a fastball that is low.
The base running failure in the first inning that may have cost Baltimore a run or possibly two will loom increasingly large.
There's a strike. And it's 1-1. You see the shadows now beginning to creep on out on the playing surface. And they will become troublesome. For the hitter. That ball is pulled down the right side, and it is foul. Close.
Awfully close.
That ball's in the corner the way it can ricochet around down there. Bumbry would have run for a while. Another look at it. It's just inside the railing. So Al is back with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cooper to Sutton. And Bumbry is out. Gulliver now coming to the plate. Don Sutton, at 37 years of age, coming over to the Milwaukee Brewers from Houston on August 30th. As Bud Selig, as Harry Dalton, as everybody in the organization realized they needed some pitching help, and a lot of people were surprised they could get Don Sutton.
Well, Al Rosen explained that at length to me when I challenged him on it. I think what they're really trying to do at Houston, and a firm friendship grew, by the way, between Sutton and Rosen. I think they're really trying to discount his salary.
That pitch is high. 1 ball and 1 strike to Glenn Gulliver, who was aboard on a single, moved to second on an error throw by the third baseman, a bunt single, and then ran through the stop sign on the third base coach, Cal Ripken, and was thrown out by Charlie Moore.
End of 3, Atlanta, San Diego, 0-0. Giants have caught the Dodgers. They're at 2-2. If the Dodgers lose, forget it. Atlanta's in.
Atlanta, St. Louis. Those Cardinals, the first of the clubs to clinch a division championship.
There is the pitching comparison. I said both are destined for the Hall of Fame, and I believe that that is true. Sutton is determined to stay in baseball, though he could have a career in broadcast. He wants 300 career wins. Palmer feels exactly the same way.
The 1-2 pitch is fouled off, and the count holds. Jimmy Williams coaching at first base for Baltimore. Cal Ripken at third. One of those games that's like walking on eggshells or sitting on a barrel of dynamite. Sort of depends on your perspective. Right now, Milwaukee is leading with single runs in the first 3 innings by a score of 3-0. That ball is well hit to the right side. Well hit. And Moore looks, it's gone. tone.
Yes, you're right. Makes a difference. One has a tendency, as we look at it again from our center field camera, and the ball, as you can see, is up and out there, and a perfect ball for Gulliver to deposit in the right field stands. It's Glenn Gulliver's first major league home run.
And the Orioles, who have scored 26 runs against Milwaukee pitching in the first 3 games, are on the board in a 3-1 game with Ken Singleton standing at the plate and 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Low and away.
There is Glenn Gulliver. Makes it a little bit easier to forget his running mistake on the paths when he ignored Cal Ripken's exhortation to hold up at 3rd. That in the 1st inning.
Singleton hits it deep to center field. Gorman Thomas going back. Jumps. Makes the catch as he bangs into the wall. Gorman played it very well. A little mistake by Thomas in his timing of his jump. The ball is gone.
Let's look at it from a different angle. Look at Gorman, sensing where the fence is, knowing where it is, going into the padding, and the ball above the barrier would have gone in my opinion. Look at that. Marvelous play. Still another look as we bring many of our cameras into play. And there, certainly from that angle, one would have to surmise that the ball would have gone out of the park.
Eddie Murray is up as the Orioles reach Sutton here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Suddenly, they are tagging Sutton.
Misses. 2 balls and no strikes.
Harvey Keene, you've been through what he's been through. You develop equanimity. Twice major surgery, the 3rd time around amputation of a leg. So he can face this and say, I know what life's all about, and win or lose, this is just a ball game.
On the breaking pitch, it is high and outside. 3 balls and no strikes to Eddie Murray. 2 down. Gulliver's home run, putting Baltimore on the scoreboard here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. It's a fair ball. Good play by Cooper. Over to Sutton. Gets him at first base. Good play by Cecil Cooper going down the line to glove the sharp shot by Murray.
People forget that Cooper is more than just a slugger, that he's also a gold glover at first base. And as you look at him again, you can see the evidence of that. We will be back in Baltimore Stadium in a moment.
Going to the top of the 4th inning, the championship game of the American League Eastern Division for 1982. Milwaukee leading 3-1. The California Angels have already clinched the West. They're waiting to see which team they will play. And they will host whichever. Gorman Thomas, Roy Howell, and Charlie Moore. Coming to the plate now.
Angels have a lineup most closely comparable in terms of slugging strength to this Milwaukee team.
No score. Atlanta, San Diego, top of the 4th in the National League West.
Center fielder, Gorman Thomas.
The Dodgers, with their big win yesterday in San Francisco, eliminating the Giants. But the Giants would walk on hot coals to damage the Dodger hopes in that rivalry.
They certainly would. And being knocked out of the race doesn't dull one bit. So we look at a ball. My admiration for Frank Robinson. What a job he did.
Yes. And they made the right move in San Francisco in going to the young people, I think.
It's proved out.
As indeed. Lasky, one of the young pitchers, right-hander, working today for San Francisco.
Loss of Chili Jones didn't help in the late going. I mean, Chili Davis didn't help in the late going either.
That's right.
2-2 top of the 3rd in that Dodger game.
Norman Thomas, who walked the first time with a count of 1-1 now against Palmer. He went to third base on Palmer's errant throw at first and then scored when Roy Howell, the designated hitter, rolled the ball down the first base line, and Palmer is low and away to Thomas. When you look down the Milwaukee batting order and you see numbers like 112 runs batted in, 118, 95, 101, 112.
It's awesome.
Get the message pretty quick, don't you?
Just awesome.
But they've handled him in the 3 previous games. The Brewers have scored 7 runs. It's now 2 balls and 2 strikes as Palmer burns the black of the plate with a perfect pitch against Thomas.
It was exactly that, a perfect pitch. So he's even with Thomas now.
Ball is hit to right center field. It's got a tail on it. Bunbury coming hard and falls and holds on. You're getting all they've got today in this one.
And as we look at it again, Mr. Bunbury, they keep writing that he's at the end, and that's why young Shelby has been brought up. But he won't give in. This is a professional ball player. Instant judgment as to where the ball would be, saw it tailing off, and got it. Now Roy Howell, the DH.
With 1 away. Out to the first baseman unassisted his first time, and Palmer is on the inside corner for a strike with a slider. Bad pitch. Swung at a bad pitch. The changeup has become a very useful weapon for Palmer, and there it was.
Here we look at it again. You'll see the pitch tail away from the left-hand batter, drop precipitously, a bad pitch, bouncing. Howell bit for it.
1 ball and 2 strikes now. Roll to the first baseman. And Eddie Murray, for the second time of the ball game, makes the play unassisted on Roy Howell. That brings up Charlie Moore.
The observation you made earlier seems to me has been the key one on Palmer's pitching effort thus far. Only when he gets behind the hitter
Right fielder,
has he had problems. He's made 2 mistakes with Yount.
When he walked Thomas, he seemed to have a momentary lapse of control and concentration, particularly when it involved the errant throw at first base. But now he again looks solid.
That's Jim Palmer. That's a Palmer pitch. Getting that black, as you put it.
Ball is hit well to left, hooking, foul.
It was
it's hit
lucky.
well.
That pitch got away from him. Up high. You saw it, Keith. Look at this one again. You'll see it right up where Moore wanted it.
Palmer does not have the hop on his fastball.
See it?
Doesn't last long. That was eye high. Pitching these days with guile. He's up high again. 2 balls and 2 strikes. It was interesting to watch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. It was interesting to watch the Milwaukee Brewers when they were assembling to come to the ballpark today. They seemed easy, not uptight, but you know they were churning. That is foul. If you don't have a little churn in your stomach coming into a ball game like this, you're in the wrong business.
Except that Sutton insists no. Palmer, since June 1st, 13-1 with an ERA of 2.24. Simply remarkable. And you say he's pitching with guile? Yes. But obviously, that rising fastball has come back to him from somewhere.
Another eye-high pitch that is lifted out into the corner in left field. Lowenstein near the wall makes the catch for the 3rd out. So Jim Palmer is able to get Milwaukee in order for the first time in the game. An inning ago, we mentioned that there had been a conference at the Milwaukee dugout with all of the umpires involved, and Earl Weaver then came out subsequently, and we can now define for you what that conference was about. The umpires had found a scuffed-up baseball, and they walked to the dugout on the Milwaukee side to issue an official warning that the next time they find a scuffed baseball, Don Sutton will be ejected from the game.
Of course, and that's what happened once in the National League. Perhaps later we'll get a chance to play an interview I did with Earl Weaver on this very subject. Perhaps.
Sutton sitting on a 3-1 lead.
You face Weaver, you face a prepared manager, I'm telling.
Johnny Lowenstein, Jim Dwyer, and Cal Ripken are the scheduled hitters for Baltimore. Bottom of the 4th. And Sutton goes to 1-1 as he misses outside with his second pitch. Fastball in, fastball out. Breaking pitch, strike. That left field position for Baltimore between Lowenstein and Gary Rinicky this year has produced 45 home runs, 24 of them for this fellow. Good pitch by Sutton, and he strikes him out. That is the first strikeout of the ball game for Don Sutton. The American League Championship Series begins in California Tuesday, and you'll see it here on ABC at 8 Eastern Time. California meeting the winner of this game today. The National League playoffs, St. Louis waiting for the winner out of the West, either Atlanta or Los Angeles, will begin next Wednesday here on ABC.
Where you going to be?
American League.
I'll miss you.
Yeah, but you'll have some fun with those Redbirds. Dwyer reasonably successful against Sutton. Bounce back to the pitcher. His first time up today. And his string of 13 successive reaches broken. 2 strikes as Sutton gets the outside corner.
Crowd didn't like the call, but then, not included among the inalienable rights of a citizen, is their right to make a different call.
But they do exercise their privilege of protest.
Of course.
Popped him up. Hit him right on the hands with a pitch. And Cecil Cooper, the first baseman, makes the catch for the second out. Now, Cal Ripken.
Shortstop, Al Ripken.
This young man may explode. He had a difficult time yesterday when hitless. First 2 times up, although neither time wasn't entirely his fault. He failed to score a runner from third with less than 2 out.
Came up to the Baltimore Orioles as a well-advertised third baseman. Weaver moved him to short. Not everybody in the organization liked the move, but few voices have been raised in protest since he went there to do the job.
I'll tell you, he was a terrific third. I first saw him, I was with Gabe Paul at the Puerto Rican League playoffs. He was playing against Bayamon, which was managed by Art Howe. Let's watch this.
Outside.
Kid was spectacular at third. Hit the ball out of sight and is well on his way now to becoming Rookie of the Year in this league. And he's only just begun.
Ball is slapped to left, and Ben Ogilvy on the move pulls it down. So we have played 4 innings in Baltimore, and Milwaukee leads the Orioles 3-1. We'll be back after Jim Lampley's report and a commercial message.
In the National League West, it's bad news for Dodger fans. Top of the 5th in San Diego, 2 outs. Terry Harper of Atlanta delivered this home run off Tim Lawler to give the Braves a 1-0 lead as they try to clinch the division title. We'll be taking you back to Baltimore after this.
We'll move now to the top of the 5th inning for the Milwaukee Brewers. Jim Gettner, Paul Molitor, and Robin Yount. Milwaukee leading the Orioles 3-1.
And the course of this game thus far changed by 2 Baltimore mistakes. An errant pickoff attempt by Jim Palmer that brought Milwaukee its 2nd run of the 3, the other 2 coming from Yount home runs. And then, of course, possibly the base running mistake of Glenn Gulliver in the bottom of the first when Lowenstein had singled to right.
In the hole, shortstop Ripken, low throw, good play, Murray. He's out.
Let's look at this again. Gantner with a seeing eye ground ball past the outstretched glove of Gulliver. Ripken over there deep in the hole has that rifle. Low throw, but Murray is hardly chopped liver at first. He is in the manner of Cecil Cooper, each man a complete ball player.
That was Ed Romero batting for Gantner. Now we need to find out what the problem is with Gantner. One would not think, unless he had an ache and pain, that he would not be in the lineup. Ed Romero in Gantner's spot in the batting order. Now we're at the top of the order for Paul Molitor, with Robin Yount, who has been double trouble today, moving to the on-deck circle. Molitor fouls it off. He has hit a fly ball to right field. He has hit a fly ball deep to center field. So he's 0 for 2. Back in the third inning, he sent Bumry way back. There's Yount. The 7th time this season the Milwaukee shortstop has hit 2 home runs in a game. Molitor bounces to the third baseman Gulliver. The throw is on target. You've got 2 down.
All right, let's take a look at the young man's second home run of the game, top of the third inning. The ball right in his alley, and there it goes, deep down the left center alley, out of the ballpark. His earlier home run had been to right field, the opposite field.
Robin Yount
He is doing nothing to hurt the notion that he should be the MVP in this league.
The appearance of Yount at the plate brings a groan from the Baltimore home crowd of more than 51,000.
Somewhat withdrawn young man, can be laconic of nature. Not eager to express his own excellence. Just does the job. Remember when they questioned his short-stopping ability? Maybe they thought he should be an outfield. They don't question the short-stopping ability anymore. He may not be Ozzie Smith, but he can play.
Fouled away. The count is 2 balls and a strike.
Incredible year for baseball as we pan around the ballpark. Another sellout house, or close to it.
The right side, and they finally get Robin Yount as he hits a liner to the right fielder Jim Dwyer, and Jim Palmer, for the 2nd inning in a row now, gets Milwaukee in order.
The inspiration of excellence. Coverage of the American and National League playoffs begins Tuesday night on ABC.
Rick Dempsey has had his troubles with the great man Weaver, but I asked him what Weaver meant to him and the team.
Well, I've played for the man for 7 years, and he's been a real winner. I can't explain some of the things he's done over the year. He's played me when I didn't think I'd play, and he's taken me out of the lineup when I thought I would play. And we've had plenty of arguments and plenty of fights, but the bottom line is we've ended up winning every year. And there's nothing like being in a pennant race or a playoff or a World Series, and if he wanted to stay, I just have to battle it out with him right to the end. I wouldn't care one bit.
And as Dempsey is talking, an excuse me swing, a looping liner off the handle of the bat to right field for his 2nd hit of the ball game.
And he had 3 yesterday, and he has a way of catalyzing this ball club. That's what I mean by the guts and the glue. And I mentioned what he had for baseball back on Friday night, even before that, maybe Thursday night. One night or the other, they set a new all-time season attendance record for Major League Baseball. And today's crowd will just add to that.
Rich Dower is up, the 9th hitter in the order for Baltimore. This is the first time in the ball game that Baltimore has been able to get the leadoff man aboard against Don Sutton. We are in the 5th inning, bottom of the 5th. Milwaukee is leading 3-1. Dempsey, no threat to run. Don Sutton at Milwaukee has started 6 games. He has completed 2.
He is facing a skilled bat manipulator. Underrated Rich Dower. Excellent hit and run man.
Dempsey goes. The pitch is lifted to left center field. Gorman Thomas, the catch. And Dempsey retreats to first base for the first out.
Weaver did not go opposite field that time.
Now, the top of the order, Bumbry. Sutton is pitching to 6 left-handers in the Baltimore batting order. Remember that.
Center fielder, now Bumbry.
With Dempsey on first, Bumbry up, swinging a foul at the plate for strike 1. Gulliver to the on-deck circle. He had the home run, or Baltimore's only run, in the bottom of the 3rd. There's Glenn. The pitch is low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Baltimore now with 5 base hits in the game. The Brewers have 3 base hits, but 2 of those are home runs by Robin Yount. That pitch is high to Al Bumbry. Molitor is on the grass at 3rd as you look at the Milwaukee dugout. Bumbry with good bat control. Not timid about using his speed. He'll put it down if you give him room. He swings and hits it sharply into right center field. Base hit. Dempsey had to hold up for a moment because the second baseman Romero made a valiant effort to get to the ball, and now Dempsey goes belly sliding into 3rd, and with 1 out, the Orioles have runners at the corner.
Let's look at this again. Bumbry, a good contact hitter. Gets one right in his alley. The ball past the outstretched reach of the second baseman. And Dempsey, who had him momentarily hold up as the ball went into the right center pocket, was able to belly slide into 3rd. And Gulliver is up, and he has a home run. For the Birds' lone run thus far.
Only 1 out. As they hold Bumbry close at first base, and Al, of course, with great speed. Dempsey edging off 3rd. Sutton's pitch, sharp shot, flagged down by Cooper, goes to second, and he hits the runner. And Dempsey scores from 3rd as the ball bounces out into center field. He's calling foul ball on the play, apparently at first base.
He is certainly doing that.
So Bumbry's going to have a lump on him after being hit in the back by the throw. Let's look at it.
Yeah, let's look at it, Keith, and let's watch the umpire at first, if we can. The ball was stung. Great play by Cooper.
Called it out right away.
Immediately. He was right on top of it, called it. Still, it shows you why Cooper's a Golden Glove first baseman.
Jim Evans calling it instantly. I frankly didn't see him because I was watching Cooper make the play at first. And so back everything up.
It is still 3-1. Runners on first and 3rd. Gulliver at the plate. 1 strike count. A 1 strike count on Gulliver. The
crowd obviously is up. 1 out, runners at the corner, Dempsey off third. Bunbury at first, they pitch out. And the count is 1-1. Bunbury goes. Pitch hit sharply to first baseman. Steps on the bag and comes home with it and holds Dempsey at third base. You've got 2 out now. Cooper with a good quick play at first base, getting the hitter, Gulliver, and alertly coming right back to the plate in case Dempsey had an idea he was not going on contact. Bunbury now at second for Singleton.
Big out. And Singleton, who has been struggling all year, hitting only .253 coming into this game. Last time up, he caught one, but a magnificent catch by Gorman Thomas robbed him of a home run. Remember?
He has hit the ball to center both times. And Sutton with a breaking pitch on the outside corner for a strike.
He has been hampered in the back and the shoulders. Got here early this morning. Trainer working over the better part of 3/4 of an hour.
Simmons set up on the outside, looking for the low pitch. He's back on the outside for this one. And it's high.
San Diego has tied Atlanta 1-1, bottom of the 5th. Atlanta had gotten a home run from Terry Harper. Remember, top of the 5th.
It's 3-1 here in Baltimore. The Birds making a run at Sutton here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And the pitch is inside. 2 balls and 1 strike to Ken Singleton. Dempsey at third base. Bunbury at second base, 2 out. Close, but outside. 3 balls and 1 strike with Eddie Murray waiting on deck.
Which has to be in Sutton's mind. The bullpen is quiet. Bases are loaded. Well, if you had one man you wanted to come up in this situation as this crowd goes crazy, look at them, it would be Mr. Eddie Murray. You have Rick Dempsey at third, Al Bunbury at first, second, and Ken Singleton at first, with Eddie Murray at the plate. Murray in the ball game has walked and rolled out to the first baseman. Batting Bedlin 290 lefty, Bedlin 360 righty. Home run power from either side. Fair ball. Cooper the play. Down the line, steps on the bag, and Don Sutton and the Milwaukee Brewers have dodged a bullet. So after 5 in Baltimore, Milwaukee 3, the Orioles 1. Back with more baseball after this word from our local stations.
Bottom of the 5th in San Diego, and suddenly things are falling apart for the Braves. First, left fielder Terry Harper dropped this foul fly ball by leadoff hitter Tony Gwynn. And then Gwynn reached base on the single after Harper dropped his foul fly ball. The next hitter, Broderick Perkins, reached base when an apparent double play ball hit the umpire. Then Tim Flannery singled to load the bases. There was a walk to Tim Lawler that made it 1-1. And then with no outs still, Alan Wiggins tripled past Harper in left field to clear the bases for 3 runs. It is 4-1 San Diego with the Padres still batting. No outs in the bottom of the 5th. Let's go back to Baltimore.
The top man of the bullpen for the Baltimore Orioles is getting loose. You can see the numbers on him. He's worked a lot this summer, as he has done every summer since he has been here.
And San Diego is getting loose. Al Wiggin tripled with the bases loaded. The Padres leading 4-1, bottom of the 5th. Yes.
Cecil Cooper hits the ball high and deep and gone. The Milwaukee Brewers long balling Jim Palmer. Again, Robin Yount has hit 2 home runs, and now Cecil Cooper delivers at 385 feet. It is number 32 for 1982 for Coop, and the Brewers build the lead to 4-1.
All right, let's look at it again, and this has been Palmer's key mistake. The ball up high again, where Coop could get everything on it, deep into right center, over the fence. So Coop now joins Robin Yount on the offensive side in the heroics, and on the defensive side, he has had a glorious day. He's made 3 great plays.
He has indeed. Ted Simmons is up there now, and Ben Ogilvy to follow.
There is Coop. How quickly it all doth change.
4-1 now Milwaukee.
A listless group apparently put to rout yesterday for the 3rd time in a row. They're very different now.
Ray Miller, the Baltimore pitching coach, coming back to the mound as Jim Palmer goes quickly after the home run to a 2-ball, no-strike count on Ted Simmons. And when Robin Yount hit the home run, he was able to get Cooper to pop up to the shortstop. But the next time Cooper came up, he hit a line shot that Eddie Murray gloved just barely. Got it in the webbing of the glove, but this time he couldn't get Cooper, and he shot it out of here, and Earl Weaver is on the phone now.
Keeping you abreast of what's happening elsewhere. San Diego has added another run in the bottom of the 5th. It's now 5-1. And yes, the Al Wiggin who tripled with the bases loaded is the same Al Wiggin who went through the drug program.
Palmer stays as Miller trots back to the Baltimore dugout. Tippy Martinez should be about warm in the Baltimore bullpen. And the count, 2 balls and no strikes. And Palmer is in after the visit from Miller with a strike to make it 2-1. Milwaukee has only 4 hits off Jim Palmer, but Palmer's own throwing area accounting for 1 of the Milwaukee runs, and the other 3 have come on solo home runs. The pitch sails high and away, and Simmons gets a walk. That is the 3rd base on balls issued by Jim Palmer in the game.
And that is it for Mr. Palmer as Mr. Weaver comes up.
And you figure it'll be Tippy Martinez coming out of the bullpen. So Jim Palmer yielding a home run here in the top of the 6th inning to Cecil Cooper, the 4th run of the game, walks Ted Simmons, and he will leave the ball game as Weaver calls for Tippy Martinez, and we'll be back. The seasonal numbers on Tippy Martinez, and there are times when this left-hander just can be invincible, untouchable. And of course, they desperately need that kind of performance from him right now, as Martinez will be pitching to Ogilvy, Bowman Thomas, and Roy Howell. The American League playoffs begin next Tuesday night, and you'll see it here on ABC, with the winner of this ball game at California, 8 Eastern Time. The National League playoffs, Atlanta or Los Angeles against St. Louis, and that will begin on Wednesday, which you will also see here on ABC.
Left fielder and Ogilvy.
Atlanta now is behind in San Diego by a 4-1 score.
It's up to 5-1, Keith.
So they could be facing playoff in that National League West.
If the Dodgers win.
Yeah, if the Dodgers win, the playoff game would be in Los Angeles. 4-1 here in Baltimore, Milwaukee leading. And the first pitch by Martinez to Ogilvy is in for a strike. That's a ball, low.
So 2 career great pitchers faced off against each other today. And thus far, at least, Sutton has prevailed over Jim Palmer.
Martinez goes to 2-1 as he sails a pitch outside off the plate.
Which I might add does not for a moment dim what Palmer has done for his team this year, or his greatness.
Ogilvy looks it slow. He's also unusual in that all of his major league career has been with the Baltimore Orioles, all 263 wins in behalf of Baltimore. And our crowd, 51,642. It is the third wall-to-wall sellout in Baltimore this season. Bouncer, second baseman, over to the shortstop Ripken, back to first, double play. So Dower, Ripken, and Murray for the DP.
This is a beautiful pickup by Dower, who charged the ball, played it on the short hop. Watch closely. That was it, and that was the key to the double play.
Getting Simmons at second, Ogilvy at first, and now it is Gorman Thomas with 2 out. The Brewers getting single runs in innings 1, 2, 3, and again in the 6th. And Thomas swings and misses on a breaking pitch for strike 1.
I think the greatest tension in this ballpark is lodged in the 2 owners. Bud Selig of Milwaukee in a box to our right, Edward Bennett Williams of Baltimore in a box to our left. Each of them on tenterhooks. I was with Selig this morning. He was called by Mr. Brofman of the Expos, their owner, to wish him luck. And he said, "Don't call me, don't jinx me. What do you think I'm going through?" Said, "I haven't been able to sleep for 4 days." And Edward Bennett Williams says, "I'm saying a miracle. I haven't been able to sleep for 4 days."
Count on Gorman Thomas, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Both owners, by the way, very close friends and deep supporters of Bowie Kuhn. Commissioner is facing some heat and some contest as to whether or not he'll remain in that job.
Thomas, roller to third. Gulliver's throw. And the inning is over. Milwaukee adds a run on Cooper's home run. In the middle of the 6th, they lead 4-1.
The entire meaning of baseball is time. Baseball is how we get even with those relentless seconds and minutes and hours of life. While the game is being played, time miraculously changes. Baseball fever. Catch it. It's worth it.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
Even before the game, I talked to Earl Weaver about the tendency for Sutton to throw lower and lower in the 6th. Here's Weaver.
See, and we've watched it in this league with Tommy John. I don't know if Don throws a spitter or not. He came from the, he really come from the other league. I do know that umpires have inspected him over there, and there was, at one time, he was ejected from the ball game for scratching the ball. So what we want to do is just make that pitch be above our knees if we possibly can, and we've talked about it, and that's the way we approached it over in Milwaukee.
6th inning. Let's see if those pitches get lower and lower and get a strike called, Keith.
Well, that one was in on the knees for strike 1 to John Lowenstein, to be followed by Jim Dwyer and Cal Ripken. 4-1, Milwaukee leading Baltimore. Lowenstein lifts it in the air to the left side. It may hang up there. They may have a play. Robin Yount makes the catch after a long run. So Lowenstein fouls out.
All right, another look. Long ground coverage. Great range by Robin Yount right here.
Jim Dwyer.
Once they wanted to make an outfielder out of him, and that can show you what their thinking was at the time and why.
Jim Dwyer hitless in today's ball game. Bouncing to the pitcher and popping up to the first baseman. Cecil Cooper has made 3 big defensive plays at first base for Milwaukee, and Sutton Gets a swinging strike on Dwyer.
You saw that ball drop, my friends. Look at it again. Down she goes.
Another shot. Fair ball going to the corner. Ricochets. Charlie Moore chasing and holds. Dwyer to a single. Good play by Moore. They respect Charlie's arm.
Two things happened here. Let's look at it again. First, the ball was hit that not even Cooper could come up with. The ball shooting past him. Then, and here's the first of the two things, the ricochet. Perfect for Charlie Moore, who was perfectly positioned for it, in fairness, too. But a great break on the ricochet, thus a single instead of what appeared to be a double.
The 7th hit of the ball game off Sutton. Cal Ripken comes to the plate now with 1 out. And Jim Dwyer at first base. Now we're getting some movement in the Milwaukee bullpen. Nobody throwing as yet, but people are moving around.
Bottom of the 6th in San Francisco. The score still knotted at 2-2. Valenzuela against Lasky. Top of the 6th, San Diego. Padres 5. The Braves 1.
Sutton's pitch to Ripken. It's low. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Things get tighter and tighter, my friend. The innings dwindle down to a precious few.
It is Jim Slayton now in the bullpen. I would think Bob McClure would be up as well. He's a left-hander. He would force Weaver by bringing in McClure if he has to bring a pitcher. Ripken fouls it off to shuffle his batting order around because there are 6 left-handed batters in the Baltimore lineup right now. And one would think he would come with the left-hander first if he has to come at all.
Ripken having a difficult time yesterday, again today, thus far. Maybe ready to explode, as he has done so often this season.
Dwyer off first. Ripken fouls it away again to the right side, upper deck.
This is a beautifully built kid, Keith.
A big kid. About 6'3", 195 pounds, around there.
6'3", 6'3 and a half.
Sutton pitching him on the hands, and Ripken keeps spoiling him to the right.
And very effectively on the hands. Too risky to take.
Working him high and tight. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Shadows now have ceased to be a problem for the hitters. This time Sutton is inside too much, and it evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The entirety of the grass portion of the infield now covered by shadow. That's foul. Sutton is showing Ripken some major league pitches.
He really is. He's moving that ball all around from the high, tight stuff. You just saw what he threw. Sinking low and away.
Two. Set up on the right side, might have a play on this one. Moore coming in a hurry. They can't get it. It is a foul ball as Moore and Simmons, or Cooper it is, banged together down there. Oh, it's Romero, the number 11, who banged into the fence. Cooper was down the line. Moore was coming. Romero, the second baseman, actually probably had the better shot at it. He's number 11, and they just simply can't get it.
But they were lucky. It was only a matter of 1.5 inches. Could have been a fair ball and a double. But that's the game.
Well, that's what Harvey Keene said. They're in the first 3 games, all the inches have been right for Baltimore and wrong for us. 3 home runs have given the Brewers a 4-1 edge. And Sutton now at 2-2 with Cal Ripken Jr. Ball is lifted in the air to center field. Gorman Thomas going back, makes the catch on the warning track. Not more than a yard from the wall, and Dwyer retreats to first base.
From the center field camera, the best ball hit in the last 2 days by Cal Ripken, and even that ball was low, but Ripken got under it, lifted it with good strength. But Gorman Thomas playing brilliantly out in center field. Remember the catch he made earlier to Rob Kenny Singleton. This one not as difficult, but beautifully played. And so we come to Rick Dempsey,
who is 2 for 2. With 2 out in the bottom of the 6th inning. Just inside. When Baltimore beat Milwaukee yesterday and moved into the first place tie, it was the first time since April 10 that Baltimore had tasted the sweetness of first place in the American League East. Of course, the last time I was here to do a ball game, I was here with Bob Uecker, if I remember, and I've been to many places lately. It's hard to remember, but we talked and documented at considerable length the effectiveness of this Baltimore ball club in its history under Weaver in the month of September.
Again, that Dodger Giant score, Keith. 2-2 in the 7th.
Baltimore's history under Weaver in the month of September, roughly 64% winning percentage, which is pretty heavy. That ball is lifted in the air, foul, and drifting toward the stands. Coops over to have a look and cannot get to it.
Cooper's everywhere. Give him this kind of running room around first base. There's nothing he won't be after and nothing he won't be close to. There, bottom of the 6th, San Diego. Closing down on Atlanta. You know the heartbreak that will happen here, no matter which team loses. What it's like to go through 161 games and then lose it on the final day.
Sharply struck. Good play by Romero. Over to Yount to get the runner coming down. So the Orioles get a base runner, can't move him around, and after 6, it is 4-1, and we'll be back with more after Jim Lampley and a commercial message.
In a 2-2 tie ball game in San Francisco, Fernando Valenzuela, who struggled early, is getting stronger and stronger. He has now struck out 9 Giants and retired 10 in a row. We'll be taking you back to Baltimore right after this.
There he is, the catcher in the rye, Robert Uecker. Scintillates on the Johnny Carson show. In between those chores, talks baseball with Keith. Consistently wrong, but a great buddy.
Yes, he is. Don Money will come to the plate and hit for Roy Howell. Harvey Keene making a move to get the right-handed batter in the lineup against the left-handed reliever for Baltimore, Tippy Martinez. Charlie Moore is next scheduled, and then Ed Romero, the second baseman. The book on Jim Palmer, 5 innings plus, 4 hits, 4 runs, all earned, walked 3, struck out none. Money swings and misses on the first pitch from Martinez.
Quickly from Beverly Hills to Bel Air, from West Hollywood to Watts, from Chavez Ravine to Brentwood, they are feeling Fernando mania. Fernando has struck out 9, retired the last 10 in a row, as the Dodgers remain tied with the Giants 2-2 in the 7th.
Pitch is outside, 1 ball and 1 strike to Money. The Dodgers must win in order to face a playoff game against the Atlanta Braves tomorrow night. The Braves are losing in San Diego. If there is a playoff game, it will be at Dodger Stadium, and ABC Television will cover it for you. And 2 strikes as Martinez works to Money. Milwaukee 4-1. Baltimore has out-hit him 7-4, but Oh, what a shot into the dugout. The Baltimore dugout by Money.
Wonder if Earl Weaver is thinking about a call he got from his mother last night, who said to him, son, even if you lose this year, may have been your greatest success.
Money bounces it to the shortstop, Ripken. Short hops it and loops it across to Murray for out number 1. Now it's Charlie Moore to the plate. And the innings and the outs grow fewer and fewer. We're in the top of the 7th inning with the Brewers. They have the 3-run cushion.
Right fielder, Charlie Moore.
Pitch is high. Sal Bando, number 6.
Difference in his luck from that dugout yesterday. He was a forlorn man then, and you can understand it.
There are people who are of the opinion Sal Bando should go into the management end of things in baseball.
He will. Ultimately, I'm sure of it. The way Selig and Dalton feel about him.
Whoa, a bullet up the middle by Charlie Moore, rolling into center field for a base hit. Martinez lucky there. He didn't get whacked.
Look at it again. Just missed.
It might have nipped him. Ralph Salvon, the trainer, coming out to have a look at Martinez. Weaver coming with him.
If it nipped him on the brim.
They're looking at the left hand.
Didn't see it hit the hand, did you, Keith?
Oh, but that's what they're looking at.
That's what they're looking at.
He had made his pitch. He had fallen off to the third base side of the pitcher's mound when the rocket came back up the middle and apparently nipped him on his pitching hand.
Look at it one more time. Let's see if you can spot the ball hitting the fingers of the left hand. Brutal shot.
Yep, there it is. So they're trying to rub some feeling back into the pitching hand, in particular the last 2 fingers on Martinez's left hand, with Mike Flanagan and Flynn now up in the John Flynn now up in the Baltimore bullpen. Those 2 have been up previously, but it was Martinez who got the call. There's Flanagan, the left-hander, and John Flynn, the right-hander. They'll give him the privilege, I'm sure, of throwing a couple of times to see whether or not he can control the pitch. And I'm sure Earl Weaver would like to keep this man in the ball game, but he only wants him if he is sound. Threw that one well enough. Nipped on the last 2 fingers of the pitching hand by a shot back up the middle by Charlie Moore.
Well, Weaver has to be thinking, too, about what happened in Detroit just a few nights ago. The Tigers, who had been shellacking the Birds in what seemed to be game after game, had a big lead going into the 9th. Baltimore exploded for 4 runs, won that game, and that's when they came in to beat Milwaukee 3 in a row here. So
now here is...
Be sure Weaver isn't giving up yet, Keith.
No, sir. Here is Ed Romero, hitless in today's ball game, playing second base. Gantner out of there with a pull muscle. You have 1 out and Charlie Moore at first base. To the third baseman, Gulliver. No play at second. Goes to first and gets Romero. 2 down as Moore slides in at second.
No play at second because Moore was going with the pitch.
Top of the order, Molitor.
Third baseman.
All hitless today. A fly to right, a fly to center, and bounced out to the third baseman.
Very dangerous batsman. 303 average coming into this game. 19 home runs. Seems too frail for that, but has surprising power. 70 runs batted in. Impressive stats for where he bats.
Ball one. The California Angels waiting for the winner of this game. If it happens to be Milwaukee and they're leading 4-1, goodness knows how many home runs may be hit in that series. High and away. And it's ball 2 to Molitor.
And Mr. Yount is on deck.
Has hit numbers 28 and 29 today. Number 22 is Charlie Moore coming off second base. Number 19 is Robin Yount in the on-deck circle, and the pitch is low to Molitor. Now Paul with a big edge against Tippy Martinez. 3 balls and no strikes. Flynn and Flanagan continue to throw. And that's a pair of Irishmen, Flynn and Flanagan, in the Baltimore bullpen. Well, 3-1. Or creeping off second. You've got 2 out. Molitor out. And the catcher there, Dempsey, indicating we'll go through the cycle again. And they'll do it with a base runner on second base. Big swing and a miss.
3-2. What do you do?
I would have Mr. Moore sit and watch. And I'd let Mr. Molitor take his best crack if it's in the strike zone. Fouls it back.
Sutton's arm. Bandaged in the manner of John McEnroe immediately after his initial victory over Peter McNamara in the recent Davis Cup play against the Aussies.
The right fielder, Dwyer, the only outfielder now to be fighting the sun. Molitor swings and misses on a fastball that was outside. So Martinez strikes him out, and the Brewers friend Charlie Moore at second base. So we move along in the middle of the 7th inning with Dower, Bunbury, Gulliver coming up for Baltimore, and Milwaukee leading 4-1. It's getting late for the Orioles. Bottom of the 7th inning. Rich Dower, Al Bunbury, Glenn Gulliver coming to the plate to face Don Sutton. Bob McClure and Jim Slayton warming up in the Milwaukee bullpen if the road gets bumpy for Sutton. Dower hits it high in the air to left field. Ogilvy stands under it and then makes the catch for out number 1.
Putting it simply, Sutton has been a superb pitcher in command of this ballgame. The one slip, a Glenn Gulliver home run. It is getting late, too, in San Diego for Atlanta. It is the top of the 7th. Padres 5-1. Atlanta has the bases filled, 1 out.
Al Bunbury now to the plate for Baltimore. Has a single in 3 trips.
Center fielder, Al Bunbury.
Gulliver to the on-deck circle for the Birds. And the crowd rested. More than 51,000. Pitch a little high. Sutton has indeed been impressive thus far. Just missed inside. Falls behind, 2 balls and no strikes.
Corner flied out, 2 out. Top of the 7th. San Diego still leading 5-1.
Strike on the corner, 2-1. close.
Nor did Sutton like that call. That's the way it is.
3 balls and a strike to Bunbury. Walking. Now Gulliver, the only Oriole to penetrate the armor of Sutton today. He hit a home run in the bottom of the 3rd with nobody on. He is 2 for 3. A strike on the outside corner. Bunbury with speed at first base. Sutton looks him back. Sutton had thrown 85 pitches in the ball game coming into this inning. That one tails off outside to make it 1-1. Snap throw to first, Bunbury back. It's becoming more and more common to see a fellow with a little gray at the temples out on the mound. Witness the remarkable performance the other night by Phil Niekro against San Diego. And the pitch is on the corner. 1 ball and 2
the home
strikes.
run.
Yeah, 2-run home run. 3-hitter at 43. And what Gaylord Perry has done this year in Seattle.
You may yet make a comeback.
Yeah, lost him enough lift. Checked. Strike. Went through it. And Sutton really turned it over that time.
Look at this one again. Watch this ball.
So
down. Oh. Oh.
That's called very tight rotation.
Earl doesn't have to worry about the umpire's call if his man is going to swing at a pitch like that.
So Gulliver is gone, and here is Ken Singleton.
Never did really trouble Sutton when Sutton was in the National League. And Ken was.
Singleton hits it to right. Moore goes back, looks into that bright sun, finds it, and makes the catch to retire the side. So, we continue with a score at 4-1 here in Baltimore. And now let's go to Los Angeles. San Francisco, actually.
The 2-0 pitch. There's the strike in the count, 2-1. Ron Peronowski, great Dodger reliever. Now the pitching instructor, pitching coach for the Dodgers. Two balls and a strike to Russell. Squeeze, and it's fouled away. We welcome all of you fans watching Baltimore and Milwaukee right here as you look at Tommy Lasorda. It is a 2-2 tie in the top half of the 7th inning. Billy Russell has the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Dodgers scored 2 runs in the 2nd inning on a 2-run home run by Ron Cey. The Giants came back and scored 2 of their own in the 2nd inning. It stayed that way, and it's still that way. The Dodgers have the bases loaded, and they have 1 out. 2-2 to Billy Russell. Greg Minton, the 3rd Giant pitcher on the mound, fouled away. Count remains 2-2. Bill Lasky started, went 6 1/3. Then Monday singled, Cey singled, and Lasky came out. He gave way to Lavelle. Lavelle pitched to Jose Morales, who pinch hit for Socha. He hit a high chopper that Morgan came in on, and he lost it in the sun behind the mound and fell down, and the Dodgers loaded the bases. Exit Lavelle, enter Minton. as he strikes him out. Now Russell going after a bad pitch. That was ball 3. He strikes out, and that will be all for Valenzuela as the Dodgers go to the bench. We understand Atlanta has failed to score in the top of the 7th inning, and it's still 5-1 San Diego. As George Orta comes out to hit for Valenzuela. Valenzuela struggled at the very start, but he managed to get out of jams. He walked 5 while striking out 8 as they have the meeting of the minds at the mound. And Don McMahon, the pitching coach, now will go to the mound. George Orta. That's Tom Niedenfuer throwing in the Dodger bullpen. So Lasorda will go to the pen. Well, McMahon and company having a little chat behind the mound. Rick Monday remains at third. Woodsay at second. Bradley at first. George Orta, veteran left-hand hitter. On the year, hitting a total of .219, a couple of home runs, and 8 RBIs. Well, he is asked by his manager, Tommy Lasorda, to try and get something in a hurry. 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. 2 runs on only 2 hits. Both of those hits coming in the 2nd inning for the Giants. 49,518, and they have been roaring with every pitch. Now Greg Minton trying to get out of a jam. With 2 outs, the infield goes back to their normal playing position. The outfield straight away. Not that deep for Orta. They leave a little gap in the alley in left center as Leonard, the left fielder, is a little shallow and towards the line. Venable, the center fielder, slightly in right center, and Clark straight away in right. One ball and no strikes to Orta. Orta, a good fastball hitter, a good low ball hitter. Minton, a good fastball pitcher and a low ball pitcher, a sinker baller. But in a situation like this, you've got to meet power with power. You don't try and alter any style of pitching. You've got to go to your best stuff. And he misses high. 2-0 the count. And Minton wants a new baseball. Greg Minton, a 6'2", 190-pounder out of Lubbock, Texas. What a year he has had. 9-4, 1.80 earned run average. The 2-0 pitch to Orta. There's the strike in the count, 2-1. Minton is tied for second with Garber of the Braves in saves. Suter, of course, leading with 36. Garber and Minton have 30. Tommy Lasorda knows there is no tomorrow if the Dodgers don't win today. 2-2 the count. Should the Braves be defeated by the Padres and the Dodgers win today, there will be a 1-game playoff at Dodger Stadium tomorrow night, and ABC will be right there to cover it. As you look at that pained expression of Tommy Lasorda, and the Giant fans come alive. You will hear a roar if he strikes him out. He foul-tipped it and got a piece of Brenly. The agonies of a pennant drive, and it shows in the faces of all managers, whether you're Tommy Lasorda, whether you're Earl Weaver, whether you're Harvey Keene, whether you're Joe Torre. It will take its toll. 2-2 the count. High chopper, Morgan on a big hop. He goes to Smith, and the Giants get out of it. So the side is retired. And the Dodgers leave the bases loaded. Well, for the fans that are watching Milwaukee and Baltimore, we turn you to Keith Jackson. Right here, it's a 2-2 tie.
All right, Don Drysdale, thank you very much. So the Dodgers struggle, and now they must go without Valenzuela. Here, Cecil Cooper popped out to the shortstop after Robin Yount on third base had hit a triple into the left field corner. Broke his bat and got a triple. Bouncer to the third baseman Gulliver by Ted Simmons. And Simmons is thrown out for the second out of the inning. And now you have 2 out with Yount still on third base, and here's Yount's triple.
Now
2 home runs and a triple by him.
That's true, but that ball was not well hit. It was a gambling try by Johnny Lowenstein. It got past him, and Yount was able to move it into a triple. It was a relatively short, high fly ball to left field, just perfectly placed. A seeing eye base hit, and Yount has become anathema to the opposition today. Heard Don Drysdale talking about the agony of the managers involved. How about these guys here today?
And the batter is Ogilvy, swinging and fouling it back. Well, actually, the 2 managers here today haven't really had a chance to do much.
There they are. A study in contrast. Keen and effective philosopher about life. And Weaver ready to go back to the plantation. With a career in broadcast.
I understand he has that in the offing.
Yep.
Yount waiting at third. Milwaukee leading Baltimore 4-1 here in the top of the 8th inning.
We've had a choice to make when Simmons came up to yank Martinez or not to. He elected not to. Martinez had handled Cooper.
Comes high to Ogilvy.
The infield had been playing in. Coop hit a short pop. For a moment it looked like it might drop, but no. Ripken was able to get to it.
Baltimore with just 2 more opportunities at bat. And that pitch is just outside. Milwaukee today, to this point, has stranded only 2. Baltimore, on the other hand, has stranded 8.
Score 4-1. Milwaukee. The very score of that October 3rd, 1951, by which the Giants trailed. Bottom half of the 9th. And you remember the rest, Keith. Everybody in America now says they're at the game. Only they had just about 37,000.
Ball is slice foul going down the line. Gulliver giving it a run. Drops in the crowd out of play.
October 3rd, 51, of course, was the day of Bobby Thompson's home run. That year, they were tied 1-1 as the National League then played 3-game playoff series. Giants had won the first game. Monty Irvin's home of the key. The Dodgers had killed them in the second game. Clem Labine, the star. In the third game, it appeared Big Newcomb reigned supreme. Then Nuke tired, and came the 9th inning. And Lockman and Mueller seemed to be all over the place. And Bobby Thompson captain.
Tippy Martinez in relief of Jim Palmer. Pitches to Ogilvy to the hole. Ripken flags can't get it, and Yount scores to make it 5-1 Milwaukee. So Ogilvy comes through, delivers Yount from third.
Look at it from our center field camera, and a big hit for Ben. Pitch was up there. Ben went with the pitch. It was outside, hit it where it was pitched. Cal just couldn't reach it. And so, it's no longer 4-1. It is 5-1.
Earl Weaver going to the mound. You can expect a change here as he goes out to talk with his pitcher Martinez and immediately takes the baseball from him. So Tippy Martinez, who came on in the 6th inning in relief of Jim Palmer, gets a round of applause from the home folks for the work he has done in this season. And a new pitcher is on his way from the bullpen for the Baltimore Orioles. It will be Dennis Martinez. We'll be back. Here in Baltimore, the 3rd pitcher for the Orioles in this game, Dennis Martinez, succeeding Tippy Martinez, who succeeded Jim Palmer. Milwaukee leading 5-1. Let's go back to San Francisco's Candlestick Park and Don Drysdale.
Well, once again, we welcome you fans that are watching Baltimore and Milwaukee. I'm Don Drysdale from a crowded, noisy Candlestick Park, and all of a sudden the Giants have turned around and they've got a rally going. In the bottom of the 7th inning, Bob Brenly led off with a base hit off of Niedenfuhr. Champ Summers doubled down the right field line, and this is Minton, the pitcher. The count is 0-1. The Giants with runners at 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, a 2-2 tie. The first 2 hits that the Giants have had since the 2nd inning. The Dodger infield is in. 0-2 the count. Terry Forrester throwing in the bullpen. The concern on the faces of the coaching staff. Manager Tommy Lasorda. That is Forrester in the bullpen. Max Venable on deck. Niedenfuhr trying to get out of a jam. There's no tomorrow should the Dodgers lose. And now we welcome you fans watching the Atlanta-San Diego game. It's a 2-2 tie, and the Giants have runners at 2nd and 3rd with nobody out, and we are in the bottom half of the 7th inning. The Dodgers got 2 in the 2nd. The Giants came back to tie it with 2. The Dodgers had a golden opportunity, bases loaded in the top of the 7th, but Greg Minton turned them away. That is fouled back. Minton is the hitter. He has the count 0-2. Bob Brenly led off the bottom of the 7th inning with a base hit up the middle. Then Champ Summers came on to hit for Joe Patini. He hit a double down the right field line. Had the ball not been sinking as much as it was, he'd have hit it out of here. Hit the top of the wall. And that's where we stand. Runners at 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. A little high, 1-2 the count. 49,518 at Candlestick on Fan Appreciation Day as they see their Giants try to take the role as spoilers. Breaking pitch got him looking. Now Minton strikes out, and Tommy Lasorda is going to go to the mound as you look at it again. He could not pull the trigger. Now Lasorda going to the mound, and they're going to go to the bullpen as it'll be the left-hander Terry Forrester coming on. The Dodgers 2 runs on 7 hits, no errors. 2-4-0 for the Giants. And right now, for those of you watching Baltimore, Milwaukee, San Diego, and Atlanta, let's go back to the 2 ballparks. Heath Jackson in Baltimore, Al Michaels in San Diego.
All right, Don, thank you very much. Well, you need earmuffs out there, don't you? Really up. Well, the Baltimore folks are getting up, making some noise themselves as we go to the home half of the 8th inning. Eddie Murray, John Lowenstein, and Jim Dwyer are scheduled against Don Sutton, while Bill Hagee's up on top of the dugout making the noise. Dennis Martinez, the 3rd Baltimore pitcher, coming in to get this called 3rd strike against Gorman Thomas to retire the Milwaukee Brewers. But they did pick up a run in the top of the 8th inning, and they lead Baltimore 5-1. The story on Baltimore's ability to come back in 1982 is pronounced time and time again. They have done it. Over the last 43 games, 17 of their 33 victories, they have come from behind. bottom of the 8th inning for the American League Eastern Division Championship. And Sutton snaps one off, and Murray swings and misses for a strike.
I suppose overall the dominant story of this game has been the pitching of Don Sutton, at least thus far. Buttressed by the offense of Robin Yount with the 2 homers and a triple, and Cecil Cooper with a home run.
And 3 big defensive plays by Cooper, a check swing and a foul. Back in the crowd out of play, and 2 of Cooper's big plays defensively have been against this man, Eddie Murray.
That's correct. 5-1, San Diego over Atlanta, 1 out, top of the 9th. We'll keep you abreast of the other games because this is it. As Don Drysdale said it, there is no tomorrow. This has not been a manager's game.
Murray swings and misses and strikes out. So Sutton gets the leadoff man, Eddie Murray, on strikes.
This has been the pitcher's game. Yount and Cooper, brilliant outfield defense on both sides. Another look at the pitch.
Left fielder,
and still that ball continues to sink.
It is Sutton's 3rd strikeout in the ball game.
There were 2 key misplays by the Birds. An errant pickoff throw that set up a run for Milwaukee by Jim Palmer. And a base running mistake by Glenn Gulliver. But there in a nutshell you have the game. The managers having very little to do with the Cosell.
The winner of this game will go against California in Anaheim Stadium Tuesday night, 8 Eastern time. You'll see it here on ABC. If the Dodgers can win and the Braves do lose, they will play off tomorrow night at Dodger Stadium, which you will see on ABC television at 8 Eastern time.
You going to be there?
I don't know. I'm sort of airplaned out this week, having been with the Pitt Panthers and the West Virginia Mountaineers yesterday over in Pittsburgh. John Lowenstein with home run power. He's at 24 this year. The Milwaukee bullpen taking time to watch. But McClure and Slayton stay active.
2 outs in San Francisco. Minton's strikeout was followed by a strikeout of Jim Wolford. By Foster had come in relief. And as we look at this walk, the Dodgers are on the verge of getting out of their difficulty.
That is the 4th walk issued by Don Sutton. And now,
right fielder
Jim Dwyer, the right fielder, who has 1 hit in 3 trips, a single. Effective over the season with the bases clean. Not so effective with runners on. Milwaukee in the bottom of the 8th inning. Pitch is just high. Cal Ripken waiting in the on-deck circle. Neither manager having made many moves. They haven't had the opportunity. The basic moves by Earl Weaver have been with his pitching core. On the corner for a strike. 1-1. Milwaukee's defense today has been outstanding. Molitor with an error in the very 1st inning. But since that time, Gorman Thomas made a great catch against the center field wall. Cecil Cooper, 3 big plays. And Charlie Moore throwing out Gulliver in the 3rd when he ran through the 3rd base coach's side. Rather in the 1st. And then Gulliver hit the home run for Baltimore's only run in the 3rd. The count now, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Sutton may be getting a little tired. He is behind this hitter. Might have added, Keith, that Al Bunbury played brilliantly in center field today for the Birds.
Just outside with the pitch as the fastball tailed away, and it goes now to 3 balls and a strike. Danny Ford up waving the towel. While Bill Hagee jumps to the top of the dugout, and the crowd coming up.
You're not going to believe this, but little Joe Morgan, who many thought had played out the string when he left Houston, has just belted a 3-run home run, and the Giants lead the Dodgers 5-2.
And the Dodgers must win that ball game to force the playoff if Atlanta should go ahead and lose in San Diego. If the Dodgers lose in San Francisco, the Braves win the West in the National League. Walked him. Sutton has now walked his 5th man in the game successively here in the bottom of the 8th inning after striking out the most dangerous man in the order, Eddie Murray. And here comes Harvey Keene to the mound. There will be a Milwaukee pitching change. He has had McClure and Slayton up. They are ready. McClure, the left-hander, and Slayton, the right-hander.
So fatigue has beset Don Sutton, who did everything that he was asked to do by his manager, by his team. Hung in there. And what is Keene doing? He's listening to Sutton tell him how he is.
Without Raleigh fingers, it puts an extra edge to the decision. And he's going to leave him.
Absolutely, because Sutton told him he was all right. I think that tells you something about Don Sutton. Sometimes not the most popular player in the world with his own teammates when he was on the Dodgers.
Well, he's thrown 109 pitches, Howard. And he's looking at a tough cookie here in Ripken. We'll see.
I've emphasized that the kid at the plate has had a difficult 2 days. And you wonder how long he can be contained.
Shot down the left field line. It's just foul by a foot.
I mean, just foul. I'd like to see that again. I thought I saw a little lime there.
It's foul.
Let's look at it again. Watch closely. Just foul. Proper call.
A 1-strike count to Ripken. Dempsey to the on-deck circle. You've got 1 out. You've got base runners at first and second. Lowenstein at second. Dwyer at first. Both of them walked in this inning by Sutton. The bottom of the 8th in Baltimore. More than 51,000 are yelling their heads off right now as Milwaukee leads 5-1. Low, 1-1.
A pair of gallant teams. The 2 teams with the 2 best records in the major leagues this year. No quitting either of them. Milwaukee lost 3 in a row. Could have rolled over and played dead. They haven't.
Into the catcher's glove, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And so Sutton has the edge, Keith.
That was a major league pitch there, sir. Here comes the umpire, Don Denkinger, out to check the ball. Looking at it.
Replacing it, throwing out the old one.
Some of the people in the Milwaukee bullpen core going up into the bleachers, as you saw a moment ago, so they could get a better view of what's going on. The 1-2 pitch. Sharply to the third baseman. Over to second, 1. Back to first, no. So Molitor took it right in the stomach. Whipped it over to the second baseman, Romero. The relay at first, not quick enough to get Ripken, who has good speed.
Let's look at it again. And the ball was sinking. And you saw manacled for a moment. Molitor, then the throw to Romero, and that caused the throw on the first to be just too late. So Terry Crowley coming up. He'll hit for Rick Dempsey. And Cal Ripken has had a very difficult 2 days. I'll make no mistake about that young man's future.
Lowenstein moved over to third on the Milwaukee try for the double play. You've got 2 out. And Crowley coming to the plate. And Crowley is dangerous. His average, deceptive. Only 228. But he's a tough out. That's why, right there. When the heat's on, he admits his concentration is better. And the heat's on. On the corner, strike 1.
Sutton came back with some mustard on that pitch.
Cicada is a fair enough hitter. Swings from the right side with a sore hand. Dan Ford, a right-hander, is in the dugout, waving the towel right there. He could be something. The pitch, dirt, blocked by Simmons, keeps it in front of him.
I was in the trainer's room today before the game when Cicada underwent lengthy examination by Baltimore's orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Silverstein. Dr. Silverstein was explaining the various courses of action that could be taken with Cicada's damaged hand. I questioned after listening to the doctor whether Cicada could effectively see action today.
Foul back by Crowley.
We're at 2-2.
The only other left-handed hitter in the Baltimore dugout would be the catcher, Joe Nolan, who figures to replace Dempsey behind the plate. The middle it goes. Base hit. Crowley delivers. The run scores from third. And moving around to third is Cal Ripken. It is a 5-2 ball game. Mike Young goes to first base to run for Terry Crowley. Joe Nolan now comes out of the dugout with a bat in hand, and he will hit for Rich Dower, the second baseman. Dower being a right-hander, and Earl Weaver going by the book. Brings out the left-handed hitting Joe Nolan.
Weaver, a man who lives with the computer, lives with the statistics, a deep believer in percentage baseball. And so Rich Dower, who's been so effective against all kinds of pitching when it mattered so often, nonetheless gives way to Nolan. Not deemed to be much of a hitter by many, but Weaver doubtless remembers a home run that he hit at Yankee Stadium to beat the Yankees. And San Diego has beaten Atlanta, the final score 5-1. So now it depends on whether or not the Giants can hold their 5-2 lead against the Dodgers in the wake of Joe Morgan's 3-run blast. If the Giants hang on to win, Atlanta wins the the National League West. It's 5-2, top of the 8th. Dodgers at bat at Candlestick Park.
Joe Nolan steps in now for Baltimore, and he represents the tying run in a 5-2 ball game here in Baltimore in the bottom of the 8th inning. And the first pitch is low and away for ball 1. The two pitchers in the Milwaukee bullpen, McClure and Slayton, are ready. R.B. Keene came out after Sutton had walked his second man successfully in the inning, visited with it, left it. Crowley came up and delivered as a pinch hitter. On the corner for a strike. Joe Nolan hitting for Rich Dower.
Gutsy call by Keene. Those would be subject to the second guess should Nolan hit safely.
Oh, ball 2, 2-1. Ripken at third, Young at first, and Nolan at the plate.
Dodgers still at bat. Top of the 8th. They've scored one. It's now 5-3. No quitting that team either. Never has been.
Strike. Nolan started to go, held up. It's 2-2 with 2 out and 2 on. If they get Nolan here for the 3rd out, Baltimore will have the top of the order coming up in the bottom of the 9th inning. Sliced down the left field line. Ogilvy, a hard run to the corner. And makes the catch. He made the catch, crashing into the wall, feet first, sliding across the gravel. Then Ogilvy makes the catch to retire the side.
That was as tremendous a play as you will ever see. I know you had a problem, as we did, because the ball went into that corner. But that's the exact kind of catch that Kurt Blefary made in 1966 against the Dodgers. Same spot. Now, let's go to our New York studios for an update.
Here is the recent action from San Francisco. First, in the bottom of the 7th with 2 on and 2 out. 38-year-old Joe Morgan delivering one last moment of drama. This home run off Terry Forster that gave the Giants a 5-2 lead in the ball game. At that point, Tom Lasorda had to be regretting the fact that he had lifted Fernando Valenzuela for a pinch hitter in the inning before, after Valenzuela had retired 10 straight Giants. But then, in the top of the 8th, after a Ken Landreau double set the table, Dusty Baker, the Dodger clutch hitter, delivered this double into the corner to narrow the Giant margin to 5-3. The Dodgers are still batting in the top of the 8th. You'll go back to Baltimore after this.
Dennis Martinez will try to hold Milwaukee in the top of the 9th with Don Money, Charlie Moore, and Ed Romero scheduled up. And here's the great catch by Ogilvy, as best we can show it to you, as he goes out of sight in the corner.
We'll look at this pitch first, Keith, and then we'll go to the game-saving play.
Fouled away.
And this was it, the game-saving play. Ogilvy, 3 things involved here. Instancy of judgment, superb reflexes, absence of physical fear as he boarded going into that corner fence, in that corner pocket. And for Baltimoreans, as I said, a reminder of Kurt Blefary in '66.
Breaking pitch from Dennis Martinez. Good for a strike to go 1-2 now against Don Money.
I'm sorry, Keith. That catch saved 2 runs. We got a 5-4 ball game, right, and some ball game.
No question it was worth 2 runs. Shot down the line. That's a fair ball. It will go to the corner. Money a turn at first. Going for 2. Better hurry. Throw comes in. He stands at second base with a double.
Outfield play, as we have emphasized, has been just brilliant in this game. Every way you look. Charlie Moore, who's developed so well as a right fielder, excellence of throwing. And of course, the brilliant plays by Bunbury for Baltimore. And then of course, as we get a pinch runner now for Don Money, what you just saw from Ogilvy, what you have seen in the infield from Cooper, but also some marvelous plays by Gorman Thomas.
For Milwaukee,
Marshall Edwards, the pinch runner at second base, very quick.
number 16,
Replacing Money on the bases. And Charlie Moore stands in. Leadoff man at second base for Milwaukee. Brewers leading 5-2. The top of the order is coming up for Baltimore in the bottom of the 9th. If Milwaukee holds on to win it, they will open the American League Championship Playoff Series in Anaheim Tuesday night at 8 o'clock against the California Angels, and we'll have it for you here on ABC as Dennis Martinez is in with a curve for a strike. Well, the old game is going down to the finish with some flair. 1982, isn't it?
It certainly is. It's been a fantastic year for baseball.
And Moore, figuring that Eddie Murray would be coming as soon as he showed bunt, tried to punch the ball, get it over Murray's head. He fouled it off.
And now in the bottom of the 8th, 5-3, as you see it there, San Francisco. So the Dodgers get one more turn at bat, trailing by 2 and assuming the Giants don't score anymore.
And Atlanta will have a division championship.
Yep. Frank Robinson's way of answering back, if you know that tough cookie.
Dennis Martinez steps back. Charlie Moore steps out. And the catcher and pitcher will talk.
May I tell you a quick story about Frank Robinson? He and Blefary were teammates. I've mentioned that Blefary made this great catch, but was a poor fielder. They were passing a junkyard outside of Spartanburg, South Carolina, during spring training. Scrapyard. And Robinson said, "Kurt, why don't you go in there and pick out some iron? Might help your hands."
Oh, Curtis. Dennis Martinez delivers. Moore throws the bat at the ball. Dennis will return his weapon. This telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. A 5-2 ball game. Milwaukee won the American League East last year in the strike-plagued year. Lost in the final game of the mini-series. So in the first, their opportunity now to win their first division championship in a full season. And they've had to fight for it. Bouncer to the shortstop, Ripken. Holds the runner at second. Throws him out at first base. Now it is Ed Romero, the second baseman for the Brewers.
Second baseman, Ed Romero.
With one out, Molitor moves to the on-deck circle. Ball is hit to center. Mumbrey zeroes in, makes the catch. And Edwards holds at second base, 2 down. With 2 down, Marshall Edwards at second base. Here's Paul Molitor. A play at second. Edwards is back. Second baseman Sakata trying to sneak in behind him. Milwaukee bullpen staying warm for the bottom of the 9th. The pitch is low and away.
Don Sutton has to feel pretty good about what's happened today and what he's done.
Little looper, Ripken after it. Can't get it. Edwards around third. Comes in to score. It is 6-2 Brewers. Ripken got a piece of the glove on it, but couldn't pull it down.
Center field camera look. Squib hit off the hands. Ripken getting a good jump on it, but not quite able to reach it. Seeing eye hit. And a big insurance run.
6-2 on 9 hits for the Brewers. And after baseball, ABC News, World News Tonight, Sunday on most of these ABC stations. With Robin Yount, who has hit 2 home runs lined right field and hit a triple at the plate. Ball one. Molitor back easily at first. Two down for the Brewers and a big run across the plate. Whoa, inside.
May have touched him.
It
did. I thought I heard it hit.
Only the quickness of Yount prevented him from taking that shot right smack in the ribs.
Look at it again. Yes. Leaped and backed away, but the ball just nicked the front of the shirt. You could actually hear it.
Earl Weaver comes out of the dugout, is marching toward the mound, and it looks like we could get another Baltimore pitcher. It would be the fourth. Weaver shaking his head as he walks out in what could be his last game as manager of Baltimore after 15 seasons. In the top of the ninth inning at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, the Giants leading the Dodgers 5-3. We'll get a new pitcher. It'll be Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan will be the fourth Baltimore pitcher, making his first relief appearance of the year. Milwaukee leading Baltimore here in the top of the ninth, 6-2. They're in the top of the ninth in San Francisco. Let's go to Don Drysdale.
There's one out in the top of the ninth, and the Giants on top 5-3 in a must-win for the Dodgers. Atlanta has been beaten by the Padres. Well, once again, we welcome you viewers watching Milwaukee at Baltimore. That was a 6-2 final. The Brewers, all they had to do was win a game. They did it the hard way, waiting for the final day of the season. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. That is not a final in that ball game. It is 6-2 with Baltimore leading. I should say Milwaukee leading Baltimore. Now that is got to be nail-biting time for owner Bud Selig and his crew. Renicky hitting .261. Got him looking. Renicky doesn't like the call. And neither does Tom Lasorda. Well, Minton with some very key strikeouts. Well, here this afternoon at Candlestick, as the Dodgers are down to their final out. They got on the board in the second inning, a 2-run homer by Say. The Giants came back to tie. It stayed that way until the bottom of the seventh when Joe Morgan, with the count 1-2, got a high slider from Terry Forster with 2 men aboard and rode it out, his 14th home run of the year. The Dodgers picked up a run in the 8th inning, and that is where we stand, and the fans on their feet, 49,518. The Dodgers down to their final out as Russell takes a strike. To Billy Russell. This should do it. Evan on to Bergman, and they will jump for joy in Georgia as the San Francisco Giants knock the Dodgers out of it with a 5-3 victory this afternoon. Coming on, and there's the man who did it all. A 3-run home run in the bottom of the 7th inning by Joe Morgan, and the Dodgers could not catch up. Terry Forster then you've got to feel sorry for him. As I'm sure the champagne is flowing in San Diego. And once again, congratulations to the Atlanta Braves. Here is the home run by Joe Morgan. You see the hanging slider with 2 men aboard with a count 1-2. And he rode it right out of here. So the shot that was heard all the way to Atlanta off of the bat of Joe Morgan. And indeed, a very appropriate song. I left my heart in San Francisco. Now the Giants, in front of 49,518, defeat the Dodgers. The totals on the game you see right there. The Giants 5 runs on only 5 hits. And right now, let's go to Baltimore and join that game in progress with Keith Jackson and Howard Cosell.
The story has been told in San Francisco. The Braves win the National League West. Ben Ogilvy, you just saw strike out against Mike Flanagan for the 3rd out of the inning in the top of the 9th. But we can tell you that Milwaukee has blown it wide open. Don Money doubled to lead the inning. Charlie Moore rolled out with a shortstop. Ed Romero hit a fly ball to center. Mike Flanagan then came on in relief of Dennis Martinez after Paul Molitor singled and Robin Yount was hit by a pitch. So you had 2 out and 2 on. Then Cecil Cooper hit a double down in the corner to deliver Molitor and Yount. And then Ted Simmons rips the home run, his 23rd of the year, to make it a 10-2 ball game. Milwaukee lead in the top of the 9th inning, and when Simmons hit it, he knew it was gone. He had all of it. He stood and watched it a little bit, and it dropped way back into the crowd.
And so, with Don Sutton assured of the victory, Harvey Keene is now sending in McClure. McClure is being sent in by Harvey Keene with Don Sutton assured of the victory. McClure himself coming off a good year. And so this Milwaukee team, which so many were so ready to give up on, as you look at Don Sutton, who in truth has been, despite all of Yount's heroics and Cooper's and all of the others, has been the dominant figure in this game. Don Sutton, the ex-Dodger, who played under Alston, played under Lasorda, who went to Houston, played down there. I was there at the football game night, and he was supposed to bring the pennant to the Astros. That he didn't was not his fault. He got his opportunity today. By circumstance, we met him at breakfast. He was the coolest cat I have ever seen. You heard him deny nervousness in the interview we had with him, and indeed he showed no sign of it. Now it is left to McClure to take over and to finish the thing off. In the meantime, one has to congratulate Harvey Keene, that remarkable man who's overcome physical handicap after physical handicap, who held together through the 3-game losing stretch. And one must, as you look at Harvey, congratulate the owner, Bud Selig, the general manager, Harry Dalton, and at the same time, Baltimore, with its owner, Edward Bennett Williams, and with its general manager, Hank Peters, and maybe above all, that remarkable manager of his time, Earl Weaver. The fact that his team lost today under circumstances over which he had no control, in no sense dulls the luster of his through the years achievements as the manager of the Birds of Baltimore. Keith?
The final guess as John Shelby comes to the plate as the pinch hitter for Baltimore in the bottom of the 9th inning, hitting for Al Bumbry. Shelby, a switch hitter, will come up right-handed against the left-hander McClure. By sending in the left-hander, obviously Harvey Keene had in mind flushing some of those left-handed hitters out of the lineup, but so many of them are switch hitters on the Baltimore roster. Hitting right-handed, Shelby, a .292 average and 24 at-bats, and he promptly delivers a single sharply into left field. It is 10-2 Milwaukee. Danny Ford now will come to the plate and hit for Glenn Gulliver.
Just to watch Weaver do this to the very end, using his roster to the uttermost with that uncanny knack that's been his through the years. Even in this kind of defeat, shows you what kind of stuff he's made of. The right stuff.
Benny Ayala has now come out to the on-deck circle and apparently is going to hit for Ken Singleton, number 3 man in the order. But right now, Bob McClure must deal with Danny Ford, who came over from the California Angels. The Braves have won the National League West, will go against the St. Louis Cardinals in the National League Championship Series. California waiting for the final decision in this one. And Ford hits it high in the air, way up there, with Robin Yount settling under it and making the catch for the first out. Now just 2 outs remain for Baltimore. Benny Ayala being sent to the plate by Earl Weaver to hit for Ken Singleton. Eddie Murray comes to the on-deck circle. The American League Championship Series begins Tuesday night in Anaheim, California, 8 Eastern Time. We'll have it on ABC. The National League will begin on Wednesday.
Number 27, Benny Ayala.
How long does it take you to drive from Sherman Oaks to Anaheim?
About an hour.
If there's no traffic.
If there's no, well, it's not that bad. 40 minutes if there's no traffic. Baltimore has stranded 10 so far in the ball game, and 7 of them over the last 4 innings. Jim Palmer was the starting pitcher. Palmer lasted 5 innings plus and will be the loser unless we have one of baseball's more historic turnarounds here. Tippy Martinez followed him in the 6th, Dennis Martinez in the 8th, Mike Flanagan in the 9th, and Flanagan was hit hard. Don Sutton went 8 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs, both earned, walked 5, struck out 3, stands to be the winning pitcher if McClure can slam the door. Sutton threw 123 pitches over the 8th inning. The pitch to Ayala is bent in there for a strike. A crowd of more than 51,000, a complete sellout here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, and many of them are staying, I am sure.
It's just amazing the number of people who have stayed in this ballpark. That club 8 runs down, the bottom of the 9th. But they're proud of this club, and they should be.
Ayala hits a fly ball to center. Gorman Thomas coming in, and Gorman Thomas makes the catch for the 2nd out. This will be the first divisional championship for the Milwaukee Brewers in a regular season, one that's gone all the way. They won one last year, but remember, it was a strike year. This one is going to taste sweeter, I think. Bud Selig will finally get a good night's sleep. Then on the other hand, he may not.
They'd be celebrating all night.
Cal Ripken, reflection on his face.
First baseman, Eddie Murray.
It's been a grinding sort of a season for this Baltimore club. They were in first place April 10 with a record of 2-1, and only yesterday did they move back for a share of first place against the Milwaukee club. And the pitch to Eddie Murray, now going from the right side, is inside for ball 1. Murray is a threat from both sides.
From their feeling of utter exultation yesterday and in the clubhouse before the game today, now there can only be emptiness.
Loops it to center. They're not dead yet. Shelby turns at second base and holds on after Eddie Murray's single. He hit him right on the hands with it, and he just wristed it and muscled it right on out for a base hit. And here is Gary Renicky, who shares left field with John Lowenstein. And Renicky brings power to the plate as well. in the form of 21 home runs.
Your attention, please.
Hitting for Lowenstein.
I'm sure we'll see a lot of Earl Weaver in the years to come. If not in baseball in any sense, apart from his consulting job with the Birds, to whom he's attached for 2 years contractually, certainly in broadcast. And he'll lend a lot of color and excitement to that.
McClure reaches back and comes with a homer for a strike. This is the 6th pinch hitter in the last 7 Baltimore at-bats.
He uses everybody. Always has.
Change. Strike. Renick tried to hold and couldn't. The pitch was outside, and he's trying to hang in. 2 out. 2 on. Milwaukee 10, Baltimore 2 in the bottom of the 9th. High to left field. Ogleby. Waiting. It's over. The Milwaukee Brewers have defeated the Baltimore Orioles 10-2, and they have won the American League Eastern Division Championship for 1982. A powerhouse ball club that rattled home runs all over the league, intimidated people. But in the end, they had to go to the final gasp on the last day and fight it out, gut it out with Baltimore in Baltimore.
And as you can see, they're all over Robin Yount, as they were seconds ago, all over Don Sutton, and put Cecil Cooper in there too. What a team effort. There goes Cecil. And so they should be congratulated, and I think, too, we should congratulate the Atlanta Braves for their victory in the National League West, Keith.
So finally, the Brewers can pop the champagne with true and genuine feeling as Bud Selig has come down.
That's Bud Selig, yep.
To hug Cecil Cooper. 3 big defensive plays by Coop at first base. The hitting of Robin Yount, 2 home runs and a triple. And the pitching of Don Sutton, with McClure coming in to get it, and they survive September against Baltimore without Raleigh Fingers. So there's the line score as Sutton wins it to go 4-1 with Milwaukee. Palmer loses at 15-5. Back after this message and the word from our local station.
National League Championship Series, Game 1. A 7-0 Bob 4 shutout over Atlanta gets the Eastern Division champion St. Louis Cardinals rolling. Game 2, Darrell Porter goes 2 for 2, and the Cardinals beat the Cinderella Braves again, 4-3. Game 3, Bruce Sutter saves it, a 6-2 Cardinal pennant clincher, as the Redbirds sweep to their first World Series since 1968. In Anaheim, a different scenario for the American League. Fred Lynn leads the California Angels to 2 quick wins over Milwaukee, leaving the Western Division champs only 1 victory shy of the pennant. But in Milwaukee, a sudden shift of the pendulum. The free-swinging Brewers, the major's top run-producing ball club with more than 200 home runs, stage a comeback unprecedented in championship series play. Cecil Cooper capped the final victory in Game 5 with a 7th-inning bases-loaded single to put Milwaukee ahead to stay. To ensure the lead, reserve Marshall Edwards made the big play. Peter Ladd got the big save, and the Brewers won their first pennant ever the hard way. Now they'll play the National League champion Cardinals, who won theirs the easy way. 2 red-hot teams set to meet head-on for baseball's biggest prize. A whirl through the World Series. Welcome to Busch Stadium, a park not designed for the power-packed Milwaukee Brewers, but ideal for the St. Louis Cardinals, who run to get their runs and flash quickness on defense to prevent them. This marks the Cardinals' 13th World Series, in contrast to the Brewers, who in their 13-year history are here for the first time. Pre-game speculation also centers around the fact that a half-dozen players were involved in key deals between these two clubs. But no matter how they got here, all are looking loose and ready for the challenge and celebration that only a World Series can provide.
Sylvia crying the cheering towels!
Very possibly could be a triple in that play. If you follow what I'm saying.
No, I just didn't understand.
I'm saying it's tough for an umpire.
That's the bullpen.
How about those Redbirds?
Watch out, Ozzy.
You got it! The Cardinals say they are #1!
Look like a waterfall.
Owner Gussie Busch, a master brewer himself, welcomes the Brewers of Milwaukee while cheering on his Cardinals with the rest of the hometown crowd. And with the completion of introductions and salutations, the crowning drama for a season which drew a record 44 million fans to Major League parks. And now for Game 1, almost 54,000 fans plus millions of TV viewers around the world. But as Cardinal starting pitcher Bob Forsch soon discovered, Game 1 would be no contest. Brewer leadoff man Paul Molitor grounds out in the first, but then got 5 hits in a row to become the first player in series history to collect 5 hits in one game. And hitting second, Robin Yount ran close behind, wrapping out 4 hits in the very same game. Altogether, 9 base hits for Milwaukee's first 2 batters. St. Louis was supposed to do the running, but in this game, Milwaukee simply ran up the numbers without mercy. "17 hits served up and bounced in every possible fashion by the muscle men from Milwaukee. The net result, 10 runs for the Brewers and a long night for St. Louis. On the mound, Mike Caldwell mesmerized the Cardinals like a multi-armed Svengali. Only 1 base hit allowed through the first 7 innings, and in the 9th, Iron Mike still had things under control. A 10-0 3-hit shutout, the most lopsided World Series shutout since the Yankees' 12-0 basting of the Pirates in 1960. Game 2 seemed like the same might hold true in this one, as Cardinal rookie John Stuper didn't fare too well in the early knockabout rounds. Ted Simmons watched one fly high. The second homer in 2 days for the former Redbird. This solo shot came in the 3rd inning, and the Brewers appeared to be in full command once again, boasting a lead of 3-0. But in the home third, a change of focus. Brewer veteran Don Sutton discovered St. Louis would not play silent forever. Willie McGee stole second despite a 3-run deficit, and Tom Herr wants to bring him home. The Cardinals had their first run. Herr, an RBI double, and before the inning was over, another run scored to close the margin to 3-2. Milwaukee later upped it to 4-2, but in the 6th, St. Louis was on the stump. Ken Oberkfell at third, George Hendrick at first. Catcher Darrell Porter, once a Brewer, batting with 2 away. Since Porter's a sure pull hitter, the Brewers make a defensive shift to the right side. The result, a shift of fortune. 1 run. 2 runs. Must be the first ball I've hit to left in a couple of years, says Porter. Milwaukee 4, St. Louis 4, says the scoreboard. The picture remains unchanged till the 8th, when again trouble brews for Milwaukee. In such a situation, manager Harvey Keene would normally call on bullpen ace Raleigh Fingers, the Cy Young winner in '81. But Fingers is out with a torn arm muscle. So the choice is rookie Peter Ladd, who, though inexperienced, retired 10 straight in the championship series. Lonnie Smith works him to a full count with 1 out and 2 on. Ball 4. Said Ladd the inside edge of the ball got the outside edge of the plate, but umpire Bill Haller said ball 4. At any rate, Steve Braun was now pinch hitting with the bases full of Redbirds, bearing down on a clearly shaken young Ladd. Ball 4. Ball 4 again. And for the first time, the running Redbirds walked off with a lead. And who better to protect that lead than the Cardinals' brilliant relief ace, Bruce Sutter, who entered in the 7th to keep the lid on the Brewers. In the 9th, after a leadoff bunt single by Paul Molitor, Milwaukee decided to gamble. No dice. Moments later, 2 away. And everything's fair and square in World Series play. All tied at 1 game apiece. A hard-fought 5-4 comeback by the Cardinals, who refused to be swept off their home turf. Next stop, County Stadium, Milwaukee, home of the Brewer Blast and parking lot party.
We're having a party next to music. Heard by the DJ on the radio. Cokers in the icebox, popcorn is out on the table. Me and my baby, on the floor, and we're having a party. Everybody's swinging, dancing to the music on the radio. Oh, listen, Mr. DJ, come on, keep those records playing, 'cause I'm having such a good time dancing with my baby.
Having a party is nothing new to Milwaukee fans, but having a World Series party, well, the last time that happened was in 1958 when Harvey Keene and Whitey Herzog were still playing, and Milwaukee uniforms said Braves instead of Brewers. But so much for history. Time for Game 3. Shortstop wizard Ozzie Smith ready to try his hand on real grass, and flamboyant Joaquin Andujar looking for his 9th straight win, ready to strut his stuff. Overpowering stuff. But equally tough was Pete Vukovich, at least until a scoreless 5th when Cardinal rookie Willie McGee, whom Whitey Herzog discovered somewhat accidentally, stepped up with 2 aboard. Oh my, a 3-run blast for McGee, who homered only 4 times in the regular season, but now including 1 homer against the Braves in the championship series, had 2 in postseason play. Then in the 7th, McGee made it 3. Only 2 other rookies, Charlie Keller and Tony Kubek, ever hit 2 homers in 1 series game. A 5-0 cushion looked comfortable for Andujar, who'd allowed but 2 hits. But then with Ted Simmons up in the bottom of the 7th, a most uncomfortable turn of events. The pain etched so graphically on Andujar's face had the Cardinals fearing the worst. Could it mean that Simmons' base hit had shattered the kneecap of their pitching ace? Fortunately, X-rays would prove negative, but the man who had carried the Cardinals so brilliantly in the stretch had to be carried off by the Cardinals in Game 3. As a result, relief star Bruce Sutter had to be used and almost abused, allowing 2 in the 8th before Gorman Thomas threatened more with a man on in the 9th. Incredible! Had this ball gone out, it would have been 6-4. Instead, it was instant replays and praises for Willie McKee. The Cardinals' man of the hour proved he could hit homers and prevent homers. And so thanks to Mr. McGee, the Brewer uprising was put in check as the Cardinals pocket a 6-2 victory and go up 2-1. Looking back and picking up on a couple of incidents of incidental meaning to Game 3, but for those would-be arbiters of the game of baseball, possibly more interest. George Hendrick batting in the 2nd. Fair or foul? Safe or out? Simple. Well, not exactly. This one takes a keen eye. And also a little discussion from the Blue Crew.
I don't know what he is. He was safe. He was off the bag. The guy's staying there.
The result? A Milwaukee brouhaha.
Wait a minute now. Hey! Look, the guy was going to be safe. First ball was foul. Then he went up and turned the ball, went right over the bag. Then what is coming off? He was out. He's out. Came off the bag. Oh, no. How do you know? How do you know? You're calling time, you didn't call.
To review, for those who thought the ball foul, it was fair. But there is confusion. Is the play dead? Well, now, if it's not dead, did the first baseman have his foot on the bag?
Well, no. Think about it. He did come off the bag.
Oh, wait a minute.
Harvey Keene has his say. What about Cecil Cooper? He was there.
Were you off the bag? Were you off the bag?
I don't know if I was off the bag or not, but he said foul ball over there. He went I don't know if I was off the bag or not. I can't say. It was that blazing speed that did it, I'll tell you.
Hey, George, I know better than that.
Even silent George Hendrick had his say. In the 9th inning, another profusion of confusion. George Hendrick races for home, but again, his blazing speed is cause for question.
He called fair interference. Didn't it go out into the park? I didn't see what happened. Out of the park? That's what I thought. Oh, okay. You want me to check?
Yeah, check it.
Hey! That ball go out of the park?
No. Interference. The guy touched the ball. Interference. He reached down. He reached down. He didn't score. The Chargers are third base. Yes.
No, it doesn't have to now, Whitey, and he's only going to third now when they call.
He's going to score.
I don't think he would have.
Well, hell, we were going to send him. He made it easy.
It all goes to prove that judgment is in the eye of the beholder. But enough of this protraction. Back to the action and Game 4. With spirits anything but deflated at County Stadium, Milwaukee prepared to even the count behind Moose Haas. As it turned out, Haas had little fortune behind him as Milwaukee's defense faltered early. But the outcome would be masked by strange twists from both sides. Example, Ozzie Smith at second, Willie McGee at third, and Tom Herr at the plate. It's the 2nd inning with St. Louis leading 1-0. Gorman Thomas goes back, and Smith tags at second. Ozzie wants to score all the way from second on a sacrifice fly, and he does. The Brewers fell behind 5-1. But the sun was still shining in the 7th, and though it was still 5-1, Brewer fans waited to explode behind the team that had averaged 5.5 runs per game. Rookie Dave LaPointe, once a promising Brewer farmhand, gets ready for Ben Ogilvy, who just wanted to get something started. Something did start. Compliments of LaPointe. The error may have looked harmless, but strange noises now start to brew in the stand. Moments later, Jim Gantner gets encouragement from Coach Harry Warner.
Nice and easy. Get you a good ball to work with.
2 men on, 2 out. Ogilvy comes around to score. Don Money pulls up at third, and it's now 5-2.
Boy, man. You got 2 outs, man. A wild pitch fastball is going to be a stand-up play at the plate. Still down 3, big guy.
Reliever Doug Baer replaces LaPointe, only to walk Paul Molitor and load the bases for Milwaukee's Player of the Year, Robin Yount. Score, and Milwaukee has itself a ball game. (5-4) St. Louis.
Hit and runner, if he's got the steal, I'll say be alive. The same thing applies, all right? You got 2 out.
Runners at the corners, and Cecil Cooper takes a turn. So does veteran Jim Cott, the Cardinals' 3rd pitcher. Molitor scores to tie it, and Brewtown is booming. St. Louis 5, Milwaukee 5. Still 2 outs, and the crowd wants Suter now that Cott's gone. Instead, Jeff Lottie comes on. Whitey Herzog wants to save Suter for later since he pitched the night before. After an intentional walk, home run king Gorman Thomas steps in with the bases loaded, hoping to shake a 2-for-14 slump. Two more runs score to make it 7-5 Milwaukee. Without warning under powder blue skies, the storm was back in Brewtown. 6 7th-inning runs, all with 2 outs. A 7-5 final score and a World Series all even at 2 games apiece. Game 5. With their bats now apparently back in the groove, the Brewers look to move up a game in the series behind the pitching hero of the first contest. In that game, Mike Caldwell retired 27 of 31 batters in pitching the best game of his life. But this time, the Cardinals don't find his pitches quite so impossible. St. Louis stings Caldwell for 14 hits and in every inning gets at least 1 base runner. That's asking for it, since the Redbirds stole 200 bases during the season. But Caldwell hangs tough with a little help from his mates. repeatedly, the audience thundered up a big hand for the helping hands, as it did on every trip to the plate by superhero Robin Yount. Bob Forsch couldn't stop Yount in the first game and couldn't stop him here in Game 5, as once again Rockin' Robin knocked out 4 hits. No one had ever had 2 4-hit games in World Series competition, but now Robin Yount did it twice in the same series. Base hit number 4 went for 4 bases and gave the Brewers a 4-2 lead in the 7th. It gave Yount a .524 average with 6 RBIs and led the way to a 6-4 Brewer victory and a 3-2 lead in the World Series. The Milwaukee Brewers were in the driver's seat. But then again, 'twas the Cardinals who were going home to that familiar arch, home to the Mississippi. Home to Busch Stadium, a ballpark with artificial grass and a field designed for speed. And home to the hometown crowd. Game 6, no tomorrow, as they say, for St. Louis. Rookie John Stuper, with good cause to be nervous, said he pitched better when nervous. Former National Leaguer Don Sutton said he didn't know why he hadn't won here in 6 years, but always seemed to find a way. In Game 6, the Cardinals showed Sutton every which way. Not even Charlie Moore's awesome throw from right field could help his pitcher. In the 3rd, with Lonnie Smith at 3rd, a disputed call couldn't save Sutton either. Smith gambled, but was called out. Had he made it, Lonnie would have become the first player in 18 years to steal home in the World Series. Replay suggested he might have. But the Redbirds were in no mood for quibbling on this day. Darrell Porter connected, and the rout was on. The pitching was strong. And the defense, led by Ozzie Smith, dazzled. When it rains, it pours. It rained, but despite 2 delays, the Cards kept pouring it on. Dane Orge struck 3 extra base hits, a World Series record for designated hitters. And the Redbirds stacked up 13 runs. A long, dismal night for Milwaukee, kept in a stupor by 25-year-old John Stuper, who permitted but 1 run on 4 hits and no runs till the 9th, when he must have forgotten how nervous he was. Game 7. Time for everyone to get nervous. The scales are balanced, and someone has to tip. St. Louis has to be anxious about Joaquin Andujar's badly bruised knee. As for Mound rival Pete Vukovich, he'll test anyone's nerves. He's made a career out of pitching in and out of trouble. In the early going, Andujar shows no signs of being bothered by his knee as he retires the side in order the first 3 innings. Later, he'd admit the knee hurt from the beginning on, but said, "Nothing is going to beat me tonight." 4th inning, Cecil Cooper batting, 1 away, Robin Yount at first, and the pressure's beginning to build in a scoreless duel. Base hit, but George Hendrick decides to challenge Yount at 3rd. The threat has been answered and perhaps gives St. Louis something that's often hard to define in baseball: momentum. Harvey Keene is concerned as the Cardinals rally in the bottom of the 4th. Runners at the corners for Lonnie Smith.
Come on, get a good pitch. Come on, baby.
Vukovich, who's pitched out of several jams already, tries again. but Smith finds a small opening, and St. Louis finds itself on top, 1-0. And just as important as the score, the inning isn't over yet for Vukovic. If he seems a bit troubled, well, this is the last game of the World Series, and the Cardinals still have 2 men on. Keith Hernandez at bat. Strike 3. Vukovic escapes again. He trails, but only by a run. And that's not much, not even for the cocky Andujar, who must continue to tame a lineup of long ballers like Ben Ogilvy. The power-hitting Brewers, who scored 206 runs more than the Cardinals during the regular season, get their first run here to tie. Milwaukee won, St. Louis won. And after the Cardinals failed to score in the bottom half, it was on to the 6th. Jim Gantner leads off. With the potential lead run in scoring position, the Cardinals now have to face the top of the order. Paul Molitor gets ready. Andujar gets advice from Hub Kittle.
Come on, get that slider in on him tight, man. Get it going down. Come on.
Time to beware of signs. Will Harvey's wallbanger sacrifice, or will Molitor swing away? Throws it away. Gantner scores the lead run, and Molitor's on second. Whatever the strategy, it worked. Next batter, Robin Yount. 11 hits in the series, but none since returning to St. Louis. Looking to change that, he turfs one out, and no one covers first. Base hit. Nervous mistakes in a high-stakes ball game all carry a price, as a sacrifice fly by Cecil Cooper puts Milwaukee up 3-1. Bottom of the 6th. With the long haul of the season and postseason almost done, the Cardinals know the score. Momentum must be reclaimed. The final trial is now. One down, Ozzie Smith at first. Vukovic still pitching and still pitching into trouble. Ozzie Smith to third. Lonnie Smith to second. Sudden life for St. Louis. And a sudden problem for Milwaukee, desperate to buy time for its bullpen.
I want to get him time. I'm going to change right now.
Time. Another word so hard to describe in baseball. The Brewers will buy it no matter what the price, what the method. A few short moments ago, time was the enemy to the Cardinals. Now Harvey Keene will take his time.
Look, they got the lefties coming up on bring Bobby in. Did a hell of a job, big man. Super job. Great, Peter. Now stay here and what's the best? Do whatever you want to do. You can stay right here. Stay with me, man. Let's stay with me. All the time. It's time to throw strikes. That's all right. Anything on the ground, try to keep it in the infield.
Left-hander Bob McClure will now replace Vukovic, who leaves despite allowing only one run to this point. And the wheels continue to turn and churn on both sides. Whitey Herzog removes left-handed hitter Ken Oberkfell for right-hand pinch hitter Gene Tennis, one of the few players on either side with series experience. McClure, now the bullpen ace with the peerless fingers still out, falls behind and walks Tennis to load the bases. Mike Ramsey pinch running at first. And with the potential tying runs in scoring position, the batter, Keith Hernandez, the Cardinals' top clutch hitter. Ozzie Smith scores. Lonnie Smith scores. Even the deck. Cards 3, Brewers 3. The drama was building for silent George Hendrick. In the cards, Ramsey scores the tiebreaker. Like a would-be flash flood on the Mississippi, St. Louis burst back 4-3. 8th inning, Mike Caldwell now pitching. Milwaukee tried to keep things tight for one last shot in the 9th. St. Louis looking to blow the lid. Although hitless in his last 6 at-bats, Darrell Porter has been invaluable under pressure. Fly away Redbirds. Like thoroughbreds in the stretch, they extend the lead to 5-3 and then 6-3. And now can smell the roses. The Cardinals rely on the Undertaker, Mr. Bruce Sutter, to pay Milwaukee some last respects. Gorman Thomas remains the final hope for Milwaukee. 2 down, no one on in the 9th. Perfect for 2 innings, Sutter provides the perfect ending. The St. Louis Cardinals are world champions for the 9th time. And for the first time ever, the National League can count 4 straight World Series winners. The Brewers went to the wire for Harvey Kane and owner Bud Selig, but the final hour belonged to the Cardinals. August Busch and Whitey Herzog. Ozzie Smith and Joaquin Andujar. Bruce Sutter. Keith Hernandez. But especially Herzog, who resculptured the team into champions in 2 years.
Oh, gee. I got a world championship ring. It was fun. I'll tell you, it was the most fun I've had playing baseball in my whole career. No question about it. It's a great feeling.
A great feeling for Series MVP Darrell Porter and the St. Louis Cardinals. A World Series victory and championship rings for all.